Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Lake Clark Shores. Tonight, we are going to begin with our first public hearing for 2024-2025 town budget. First, we'll bring up Pastor Stan, please, for your invocation. And Pastor, before you go, we're going to stand and have a moment of silence. This evening, we want to have a moment of silence for Ann Hallstrom Clark, who was a town resident since 1987, and she was 63 years young, and she passed on 7/14/24. And also we would like to remember Ruth Grigsby, who passed on 8/21/2024. She was 89 years young, and she was a retired city clerk from the city of Indian Harbor Beach.
May their memories be eternal. Let's look to the Lord. The wise and the foolish builders. Therefore, anyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundations on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew against and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. Heavenly Father, our desire is that we would be wise builders, that we would build upon a solid foundation, a foundation of trust and commitment to one another and to you. And so we pray your favor upon us, Father, as we go forward, looking to honor you and serve you. We come before you in thy precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance, of course. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor.
Okay, let's get started. So we'll enter into the first public hearing.
Greg,
Town of Lake Clark Shores setting and fixing a tentative millage tax rate to be levied at 5.9950 mils, which is 7.76 over the rollback rate of 5.5664. Mr. Lobello?
Thank you. Can we put the presentation on? Oh, there it is. Thank you, Emily. First, I'll go over the proposed budget message, which we did back in July, just to go over it real quickly, and then we'll go over the tentative message. The budget calendar didn't change. Obviously, this is our first public hearing, which says September 9th, which is a Monday. We go back to May. May is the first time we set upon doing a budget, and it takes a few months. And then we had our first detail meeting in July, and our last meeting will be in 2 weeks on a Tuesday, which will be on the 24th. And this is just what we went over in July. I'll just go over really briefly, but we renovated our tennis courts, came out really nice right here in this park, put lighting in our pickleball courts. This is all accomplishments we did last year. And believe it or not, that was our basketball court at Community Park, and look what it looks like today. This is utility projects. Remember, we have a $5 million budget in general fund, and we also have a $5 million enterprise fund, which is utility, water and sewer services. We finished a sewer lining project within budget, and we got a grant for that, 75% grant. Unfortunately, we didn't get a grant for the next item, which is a water main replacement on Lawrence Road. It's good to tell you an update on our lead pipe inspection. We completed it on time, and we did not find any lead in our total service area in our town, and all the way down south. We have a large service area. 2/3 of our customers are not even in town. We changed out about 2,000 meters. We're currently doing our Seminole Manor sewer main replacement. It's going on right now. So a lot of projects and utilities all going well. We had public works and infrastructure projects. We had a calming, traffic calming study. Vacation rental, 2 years ago, this was such a problem. We haven't had a complaint lately. I don't know if you have had any complaints, but I haven't heard anything in at least 6 months. So our new ordinance is working. People are being better neighbors. So they're abiding by the rules. We painted both buildings here. We painted all the parks. We upgraded our security systems that were 15 years old. We put new flooring in our police department. We're gonna repave some roads, and the boat ramp is gonna be done at the end of the month, and the paving will be done at the end of the month. Unfortunately, the boat ramp will be closed for about 2 weeks when we do that, all those improvements. Arabian Road was updated, the entrance walls. IT, everything's all about cyber security and ransomware and the new state laws on that. We did a new backup system. We renovated all of that. We did some upgrades to phones. We're actually starting that now, and with deleting some of our copper lines, we're going to save in the tens of thousands of dollars by just doing that. And we also decreased our consulting costs. That'll save us money too. We started, thanks to John and some of our residents, we started a new senior club, going well. We're actually having the Historical Society. Thank you, Taylor, for the speaker. For this month, it's going to be, Mary told me to remind everybody, it's next week. It's next Wednesday. It's always the third Wednesday of the month. It's from about 11:30 or 11 to 1:30. We always have a speaker, free lunch. Commissioner Barnett's been there and Laura's been there, and they enjoyed it. So we've had a lot of great speakers. So come enjoy a nice gathering and of our seniors. All right. This is our proposed message back in July. I'm not going to go over that because it's old, but we passed a proposed millage rate of 6.1. And this is again old. So let's go over the new tentative annual budget message. Budget calendar didn't change. Projects obviously didn't change. I updated them without pictures. And now we're getting into the tentative budget message. The budget and the proposed budget was about $40,000 larger than it is today. So we did reduce it another $40,000. That $40,000 helped us to reduce the millage rate, which we're going to talk about. But with all of those reductions, we don't believe we're reducing our high level of service or our commitment to our financial stable and financial great position that we have in the town. All right, we thought a chart would be best. We had the same millage rate for more than a decade. So I put a 10-year chart here. As you can see, the rate was 6.28 roughly for more than 10 years. Last year, we reduced it to 6.1, and now we're recommending it to go down even further to 5.990. What that means is, Save Your Homes, if you're homesteaded, your assessed value can only go up 3% a year. And if we're reducing our millage rate by 2%, you're roughly going to see a 1% at most of a tax increase if you're a homesteaded property. So personnel, we went over this, but no changes. We did really good on benefits, operating. We talked about waste management is coming up for their contract next year. Insurance, I'm still negotiating, believe it or not, to this day. On October 1, we have a renewal, but we believe we're going to beat that 20% that we put in the budget. It's going in the right direction. So we don't think we're going to go out to bid. Same proposed projects for next year, community lighting. Obviously, the big one is the bridge. We're going to see that next month. We're going to close that bridge very shortly. We're going to do a notice of commencement next month, so traffic will be diverted. We'll alert you through the website and through the mass emails, and we'll alert everybody. The master plan for the parks we're actually doing tonight. We got 3 applications for grants out there for dredging and 2 septic to sewers. And the 3 items that were outstanding, we're not going to ask for a vote on or consideration tonight, but just want to keep them up there so we can keep discussing them. And I thank you for your input, council, because I've been talking to you all about these. Just so you know, it's indexing our water and sewer rates for increasing, changing our parks department to be more encompassing, call it a public works department, and keeping up with our peers on retirement contributions, and maybe even changing to a pension plan one day, because that's not what the market is right now. So we want to be within the market. Not going to go over this in detail. I did in July, but as you know, we're ending the period of Fed hikes in our interest rates. Hopefully this month it's going to actually go lower. The market is still very stable. Unemployment is going higher, but it's not in any danger zone. Housing is still very strong in Palm Beach County and the state of Florida. It's not as strong in other parts of the country, but we still have a very good economy here in Palm Beach County and in Lake Clark Shores. So that is basically my presentation. I'll do that announcement again, so I'll put it on the record as an announcement because it is very important. This is required by state statute. The town of Lake Clark Shores setting and fixing a tentative millage rate to be levied at 5.9950 mils, which is 7.76% over the rollback rate of 5.5634. And just to remind you all before we take your comments, this is a tentative resolution. It can change the next final meeting, but tentatively you're going to approve that rate or some rate tonight and the budget that's presented. That's my presentation.
Okay, thank you. Tim, we're going to start comments. So I know you come to me first, so you're up first.
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. So I would support a complete rollback rate for our budget. We're a town of 1,500 houses, 3,500 residents. That's the size of a decent sized homeowners association. We're spending way too much money. Continue to spend money. Okay, and we need to start recognizing that we need to live within our means. Okay, and that means cutting our tax rate back and going back to a complete rollback. And there's a number of issues that I think that really need addressing. We're out of control with our vehicle expenditures and the new vehicles that come into this town. Okay, for staff to use. Okay, it's completely out of control.
Tim, do me a favor, just lift your microphone up. There you go, so everybody can hear you.
Apologize.
Thank you. No, it's good.
And we need to do something about vehicle expenditures. I continue to see new vehicles. We just approved last month of getting a 500-gallon tank for diesel. Okay, for vehicles we don't keep very long. We're bringing in a diesel tank. Come on, you don't put diesel vehicles on the road that you're using for a small period of time. You just don't do that. Okay. We continue to speak about septic to sewer, okay, like it's a done deal, okay, like a decision has already been made, okay? I mean, that's a huge expense for a lot of us. And as part of this project, we're being asked to pay on an individual basis, house per house, in these phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and all of these, we're asked to pay on an individual basis per house to repave our roads. Okay, what are we paying taxes for? Okay, we're being double billed for fixing roads. Okay, we're being double billed. Okay, that should be part of what we pay in taxes to the town. Same thing with water line replacement. Utility fees are designed to pay for improvements or replacements, okay? We're being asked on a house-by-house basis to pay for water line replacements, okay? That is, again, a double payment for each one of the residents of this town. That should be paid for by utility fees. Again, I'll speak out to the roads, okay? Alpha Court North needs to be addressed and needs to be addressed right away. 7404 Pine Tree Lane. There's a hole there that continues to get bigger and bigger and deeper and has not been addressed. There's things that our roads, there's repairs in our roads that need to take place and need to take place now. And not 6 months from now, or not 6 months after the bridge replacement is done. They need to take place now, okay? Because we can't wait for those things for after the bridge is being replaced, okay? The bridge, okay? We've approved money for the bridge replacement. Then we approve another 190,000 for inspections of that bridge, okay? That's ridiculous. I don't know what to say to that than other, that's insane. 190,000 just to inspect a bridge? It doesn't bear any relationship to anything reasonable I would ever even consider, okay? I'm not saying we don't have infrastructure problems. We do. Every municipality has them. But we're going at this at a haphazard fashion. We need to make a list of all these infrastructure improvements we're trying to do throughout this town, okay? Septic sewer. You've already made a decision that we're moving forward with septic to sewer without really taking what we say into account, okay? The roads. I've talked about it 100 times if I've talked about it once, okay? Water lines. The water lines are end of useful life, okay? These water lines were put in when this development was built. These are concrete asbestos water lines, okay? They could probably last 100 years if we wanted them to, but it's time for them to be gone, okay? It's asbestos, okay? It's asbestos, it's asbestos, it's asbestos, okay? I have yet to see us do anything with jetting our storm sewers and doing cameras of our storm sewers in the 20 years I've been in this town. That is an infrastructure issue that is done all the time in any different municipality, and I've yet to see that in this town, yet to see that. We need to make a list of all these infrastructure projects, come up with a budget for each one of these pieces, and then come up with a viable financing solution to manage these things over whatever time we decide to make these things happen, okay? That's a lot of money I'm talking about. That's a huge amount of money I'm talking about. And that's money that each one of us can't pay. We just don't have it. We do not have it. So we have to come up with some sort of manageable way of addressing these issues on a year-by-year basis, going out 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But to be able to do that, we need to cut back on our current expenses, okay? Because the money has to come from somewhere, and it can't just come from us on a assessment for each individual project. We can't do it that way. We've got to do it some other way, okay? We talked about grants. I've yet to see a federal grant come into this town. I know in Broward, they're doing septic to sewer conversions. The septic to sewer conversions that they're doing on 1,000 or 15 or 2,000 people amount, it's from a federal grant. The individuals don't pay for the sewer lines. They pay for the tap and the work that's done on their property, but it's not the money being spent on bringing the sewer to their house, to the front of their house, okay? We need to be looking at federal money, okay? We need to be looking at federal money, okay? And looking at a small grouping of these things over time where people don't have to spend this money. Thank you for your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you, Tim.
Yep.
We have any other audience comments at this time? No? Do we have any emailed?
No.
Nothing emailed? All right, council comments. Councilwoman Mossbach, you're up first.
Thank you. I would actually like to commend Joe and the staff for coming up with a budget that actually allows us to roll to roll back the millage rate. I kudos to you, to the whole staff for accomplishing that.
Thank you.
And on a personal note, I know, is Officer Manick here? He's here every time.
He's on a call.
Okay.
Coming soon.
Well, I would like to thank him for helping out my daughter when I was away, and the neighbor's dog got a little vicious. Officer Manick handled it with grace and compassion for my frightened daughter.
I second that. Thank you to the staff and Joe, and also very interested in what we discussed it at the last hearing, but the future pieces specifically as it applies to the retirement and possibility of pension, I think is very important as we move forward in these conversations. So I appreciate that being up there.
Thank you.
I echo the sentiments. Thank you for the rollback and thank you for your due diligence, staff, because I know it's not easy to look at all the fine tuning. Appreciate it and look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everyone, thank you for being here this evening. And it's always tough when you start with the numbers, but that's what I do for a living, so I'm comfortable with that. But spent a lot of time with Joe and really looking at the budget, also looking at our balance sheet from the audit and looking at what we have in reserves and kind of haul the big picture of what we're trying to do for the town and some of the infrastructure things that Tim mentioned that are definitely needing to be addressed. And we're definitely putting in the work to try to get that done. But to the team and staff, I know budget season is always a challenge when you have to meet 3 different times to try to get it done and get it done correctly. It is a lot of work. And so we want to commend the town for their hard work and due diligence in that perspective and from that perspective. But the millage rate is going in the right direction. And so that's always good to see. And we're being good fiduciaries there as prices continue to rise from homes and making sure that the residents aren't bearing all of that weight. So team, thank you for that. And
Thank you.
see you at the next meeting.
Okay, Joe, just to make sure, let's make sure we get ample time out there for the boat ramp closure. Because that'll be a big thing just for the residents. It might be a good time for those who want to get their boats out, maybe do some fall prepping,
Thanks.
cleaning, that kind of stuff. So do we have a hard date on that?
Yes, we're starting, I think the 21st or something, is it?
No,
The
the
23rd?
23rd.
23rd,
23rd of September?
yes.
Okay, I'll start spreading that too.
We're going to put it on the website, but we'll,
Okay.
social media, we'll hit everything and the alternate.
2 weeks
boat
is
ramps.
approximate?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
I'm trying to be optimistic, but they're all screaming that it could be 2-3 weeks.
I'll address these issues in the other comments because they're really not all related to the budget.
I can go over them. You want me to go?
No, you did a good job on the budget.
Okay.
It's never easy. We're going backwards. We're moving this way. We're going that way. The budget is a swag. That's all it is. It's a guideline for us to live by. We don't know what tomorrow brings. My philosophy is to stay in front of things, stay in front of it. If you get behind it, this place has already been behind it and it took a long time to get back in front of it. We don't want to fall back behind it again. So I agree. I think this millage adjustment is moving in the right direction. I have my concerns that there could be something drastic that we need money for, but that's what we have you for. You can count all the beans and figure out how we're going to pay for all this good stuff. So, pardon me? No pressure. Oh yeah, no pressure. Well, he knew what he was walking into. So it's not that bad, is it?
No.
No, it's not that bad. We're going to be just fine, folks. Everybody will be fine here. We live in a great place, and I'm going to cover that also in the comments when we get to the regular meeting. So we have had this discussion before, open, about a tagline and things like that. So we'll go over that. I can't make that motion, but somebody else can. So right now, we're going to ask for a motion to accept the tentative millage rate. Huh?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's you, Charlie. You're next.
Yeah.
We're required to read the resolution in full before the motion, so I will do that with your permission. Resolution number 2024-17, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida, adopting a tentative millage rate of 5.9950 mils for the fiscal year 2024/2025. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores held a budget workshop on July 9th, 2024, for the purpose of discussing the proposed budget and proposed millage rate for fiscal year 2024-2025. And whereas during the July 9, 2024 Town Council meeting, the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores approved a proposed millage rate of 6.1000, noted that the rollback millage rate for the fiscal year 2024-2025 is 5.5634, and set the date for the final budget hearing to be on September 24, 2024. And whereas public notice of the Town Council's intention to adopt the final millage rate will be published in the Palm Beach Post on September 20th, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida as follows. Section 1, that the tentative tax rate hereby levied for fiscal year 2024-2025 shall be at the millage rate of 5.9950 mils upon the non-exempt valuation of real and tangible personal property lying, being, and situated within the boundaries of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida. Section 2, the tentative 2024-2025 millage rate of 5.9950 mils is 7.76% greater than the rolled back rate of 5.5634 mils. And if passed and adopted this 9th day of September 2024.
Okay, so we'll accept a motion to accept the tentative millage rate of 5.9950, which is 7.76% over the rollback rate of 5.5634.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. 5-0. Okay,
The next one is adopting the budget, and that you just have to read the.
yes, you're up again, Charlie.
Unlike the millage rate, we only have to read the title for the budget. Resolution number 2024-18, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida, adopting a tentative budget for fiscal year 2024/2025.
Motion to adjourn?
No, you gotta,
Oh,
Have to have a
Yeah.
motion.
I'll make a motion.
oh, okay, yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Joe wants to see the Jets game tonight. All right, now we'll have a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, so move. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move to the next item, which is going to be the CRA. Yes. Yeah, I think so. Okay. We'll call to order the Lake Clark Shores Community Redevelopment Agency meeting of September 9th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Chairman Gregory Freebold,
Here.
Vice Chairman John Maples,
Here.
Commissioner Bridget Keating,
Present.
Commissioner Taylor Materio,
Here.
Commissioner Christy Mossbach.
Here.
Okay, we'll move on to the public hearing portion, and we'll have Mr. Lobello present the CRA budget.
Okay, just for the audience, this is not a regular budget. And not a regular meeting. We took off our hats as council members and town managers, and now they are CRA commissioners, and I'm the executive director of the CRA. The budget as presented is basically the same materially as what we presented back in July, as I went over all the numbers. But remember, we were out 25 million value in 2016, and now we're approaching 43 million. So, and all of that increase was in the last few years. So it is working in the right direction. So as presented, I recommend you approve the same budget basically as we did in July. And this will be formally approved again at the council meeting on the 26th.
Okay, do we have any audience comments regarding the CRA budget at this time? None?
You might want to make your comment because after this it's a long break. No, you might want to, we're going to have an hour CRA meeting, so you might want to do a public comment here unless you want to wait a whole nother hour.
We're gonna have our regular meeting.
No, this is CRA meeting.
This is the CRA meeting. Come on up, Commissioner. Come on up and talk to us. How are you today? Nice to see you.
24.
Yes.
Yes.
Appreciate the
guess.
opportunity to address the council.
Thank you.
Good evening.
And commissioners. And chairperson.
Thank you. I don't have any comments on the item presented, but I appreciate you letting me speak. In general terms, I want to thank you for the relationship that we've built between the town of Lake Clark Shores and my office. You know, you mentioned myself and Laura a minute ago. She's been a valuable, amazing asset to my office and maintaining that relationship that we've had. I'm proud to be able to say I represent Lake Clark Shores, and thank you for being good stewards of the people's money with regards to the vote that you just took. We have a shared commitment to improving the quality of life for our residents, and that drives our success. It's been a real pleasure serving alongside you and supporting your efforts. I wanted to give you an update. As you know, with regards to the budget that the governor signed earlier this year, we were fighting very hard to get that appropriation approved and signed for the Pine Tree Lane Bridge. Wasn't meant to be this year, but we were on the phone with the governor's chief of staff and his budget people, working really hard to make that happen. We will continue to work with you. If you would please inform us of your legislative priorities. We will make sure to be at every single legislative delegation meeting. I meet with our legislators one-on-one, and we will be going to Tallahassee with you all for Palm Beach County Days to make sure that we get your items approved in the budget and signed by the governor. Wanted to thank you, those of you who accepted our invitation to come and visit with us to see some of our county facilities, including the jail and the medical examiner's office. I haven't had a chance to meet some of you in person, but I hope to sit and talk with you one-on-one about your priorities for Lake Clark Shores and ours for Palm Beach County. We have our budget meeting tomorrow night, of our own first public hearing. Months ago, we set the county millage rate to 4.500. That's the maximum millage rate. I expect it's not going to go up, and we need a supermajority to increase it at this point, but I'm grateful that the county and the town of Lake Clark Shores, we're doing right by the people by giving the taxpayers a break. Thank you very much. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me personally or Laura or anybody in my office if we can be of better service to you and to the people that you all represent. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, council members. I appreciate this time.
Thank you,
Very
Commissioner.
much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner, I just wanted to say thank you to your staff. You guys are super responsive. Anytime there's an issue, we can reach out and you guys return our calls right away. So thank you for that. And you guys continue to do the great work you're doing. Thank you.
Always. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yes. And I second Laura. Laura's your secret weapon.
Right arm and left arm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, do we have any more audience comments? Nice to see you, Laura. No further audience comments. Do we have anything emailed?
No.
Nothing written?
No.
All right. Commissioner Mossbach, do you have any comments?
This is not the time in which we'll be speaking about the lighting.
No, this is just the budget.
Okay, no comments.
No comment.
None.
Nothing? No, okay. We're all good. We all know what we want to do there with that area.
And the next meeting is the 24th. I misspoke. I said the 26th, right? Yeah, the next meeting is on the Tuesday, the 24th.
All right, so just, we're going to adjourn the public hearing portion of the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, so we need a motion for that?
I'll make a
Correct.
motion.
Yes, motion to adjourn the public hearing portion of agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to move back to audience comments again. We have any other comments? Anything written, email? No? Okay, good. We'll move on. We'll have a motion for approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Approval of consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the July 9th, 2024 Community Redevelopment.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. New business. Approval of Resolution 2024-01, submitting 2024-2025 fiscal year CRA budget to the Lake Clark Shores Town Council for adoption as part of the Lake Clark Shores 2024-2025 town budget on September 24th, 2024.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Next item is B, planning consulting services for Memorial Park, Pine Tree Park, and North Park Master Plan. We're going to have presentations. Each presenter will have 20 minutes for their presentations, and looks like we're going to start with Kutliar and Hearing. You guys have the floor.
Yes. And I'm going to ask the other two presenters to go in the other room. I'll escort them in there. It's not required, but it's usually common practice.
And while he's doing that, I will simply advise you that it is a public meeting. They are not required to leave. If they want to stay, we have to let them stay, but typically as a courtesy to the other presenters, they do not stay.
They're getting positioned into the soundproof booth.
May I pass out some copies of the
Yes, of
presentation?
course, please.
Great.
Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
Okay. Soundproof room. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we will do with that. Oh, Emily's right there.
Okay, great. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate it.
Okay. Nicole, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You have the floor.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Plunkett with Kotler and Hearing. I am a partner. I'm also a licensed landscape architect in the state of Florida, and I'm a certified land planner as well. I'd also like to introduce tonight Rick Gonzalez with REG Architects, president and founder as well.
Good evening.
Welcome.
We're honored to be here to present in front of you tonight, and we thank you for your time. A little bit about Kotler and Hearing. We are in our 33rd year of business, and our office is located in Jupiter, about a 30-minute drive from here. We have a staff of 43 professionals, landscape architects, land planners, and I saw within the RFP for tonight that there's a desire to enhance Forest Hill Boulevard, and we do have a team of FDOT landscape architects who specialize in roadway design. I'll show you an example of their project within my presentation tonight. Additionally, I'm from Jupiter. I grew up in Jupiter. This is my hometown, and it really means a lot to me that I can practice landscape architecture and be one of the partners of a very successful business here in our community. And so I just wanted to add that Rick's office, REG Architects, is even closer than our office. He's in downtown West Palm Beach, and so it's just a very short drive away. Our project team will be led by myself and my team of professionals, including landscape architects, pedestrian networks, pathways and roadways, and of course the community engagement portion of this as well. And while landscape architecture and land planning was the main focus that I understood from the RFP, we've invited Rick and his team in case of potential boathouse or architectural needs for the designs as well. Our areas of practice range all throughout the Palm Beaches, Treasure Coast, Martin County. We have worked with many municipalities and a number of different FDOT projects, specifically in District 4 and the Turnpike District as well. And when we have a project approach, we're very deadline driven, And we not only meet our deadlines, but we exceed our deadlines. We are the ones usually picking up the phone and calling and asking for review and trying to push things along. And Rick and myself, our teams work together so well because we work on so many projects together. We use a lot of AI technologies and other types of technologies to stay on the cutting edge to make sure that the projects are effective, efficient, and the best that they absolutely can be. Our community involvement goes beyond just the design itself. Beyond the community engagement, Kotler and Hearing as a firm, we spend time with Chamber of Commerce's, local nonprofits, and I myself am a founder of Future Landscape Architects of America, which is a nonprofit that educates K through 12 students about the career field and the importance of landscape architecture in our communities. I'm going to talk about a couple of projects that I feel really strongly relate to the RFP that you have in front of us tonight. The first one I'm going to talk about is the City of Atlantis, Paul Kent's Park. The City of Atlantis put out an RFP about a year and a half ago, and we were awarded the contract to redevelop their Paul Kent's Park. This particular park is about 1.5 acres size, right in the city center, and the population as of the 2020 census is 2,142 residents within the City of Atlantis. That's important because public engagement was an important part of our design process, because I don't live in the City of Atlantis, but I needed the feedback from that community. I also wanted to note that Rick and the REG team, along with all the other consultants we've identified in tonight's RFP, are on that project as well. And so it's just another example of the project team that we work with together. The park was dedicated in 1978, and so through the years, it's gone through a handful of modifications. However, now the City of Atlantis has decided to do a full revitalization of the park. The first thing we did with working with the City of Atlantis was to work out what is the schedule going to look like, what is the timeline going to work for, and how do we meet those deadlines. We have attended multiple City Council meetings, working with them and adjusting our schedule based on their needs. We are there to work with them, and we've built a wonderful relationship working with the council and the residents in the City of Atlantis. The next thing we did was a community-based survey. Kotler and Hearing created a 5-page survey to ask the question, who are you? How long have you lived in the city? And tell us a little bit about what you like about your park and what's missing from your park. And so we distributed this survey to all of the residents of the City of Atlantis. We had hard copies available at City Hall, so residents that did not feel comfortable going online, they could come and get a hard copy and submit them. Additionally, we sent the surveys through social media, through the email blasts, and they were on the website as well. And so through that, when I said we had 2,100 residents, of those residents, we had a response rate of just over 400 residents. And I would like to think that that's a great success with this particular survey. Once we received the survey information back, we used that information to come up with site plan concepts for the park itself. Everything related to types of playground equipment, splash pad, and also from an architectural standpoint, what would the community building look like? How large is it going to be, and what is it going to be used for? And so you can see in the slides in front of you, we did a couple of different workshops with the community to get feedback. They used red stickers for things that they didn't like, green stickers for things they did like, and of course, there were a couple of additional comments with post-it notes you can see in the photo here as well. And so really trying to understand, what does all this information mean, and how can we develop a plan that's even better than what we had initially imagined? And so the site plan in front of you, the colored site plan we did, was a direct response from the multiple workshops we did with the residents of the City of Atlantis. And this particular project right now, Rick and I are very close to the finish line and starting to create the construction drawings and to put them into permit as well. We're also working on the budgeting with the City of Atlantis for this particular project too. So it's very exciting. The second project that I wanted to bring forth to you in front of you tonight is the North Palm Beach Rowing Club. Now, the North Palm Beach Rowing Club, they have been in existence since 2007. They're located in Burt Winters Park, which is about a 13.5-acre park in North Palm Beach. But it's important to note that this particular park is owned by Palm Beach County. Now, the North Palm Beach Rowing Club leases, you can see the yellow portion of land, it's about 1 acre. They have a lease with Palm Beach County. And most recently, Palm Beach County has come forth with a design to redevelop a portion of their park, which would affect the existing boathouse and the rowing club that's been there for many years. And so with this lease agreement, they have negotiated a new deal with the North Palm Beach Rowing Club, and you can see in pink, they're just sliding that lease boundary a little bit further south. Now, this was also an exciting opportunity for the North Palm Beach Rowing Club because through the years, their membership has grown and they have more operational needs to meet the demand of what they're doing today. And so these are a couple of pictures of the facilities that they have been operating out of. And of course, they're operating out of, they've had a little bit of damage with some of the storms the past few months this summer, but this is a great opportunity for them to recollect, redesign, and really to create a site that meets their operational needs. And what Cutler and Hearing is doing, working with them, is we've come up with a couple of ideas with our project team to give them a brand new boathouse that has a sense of place, a sense of entry. They can host events there. They have hardscape areas. They have washdown areas. And we're also including a green element. You can see a cistern and the edge of that elevation of the architecture where it collects water and they can use that water to wash down the boats. They also have access out to the waterway. We're currently in negotiations between 3 to 4 docks, but from a design standpoint, it's interesting to understand how water plays into the design elements and what you're constricted by, because there are rules and regulations related to the waterways. And so this design's been really exciting and fun, and we're getting closer again to permitting this project. So hopefully it will be under construction very soon. The last project in front of you is the Sunny Sands Boathouse, and I wanted to feature this one because this was designed by Rick and his team. It's up at the Jupiter Inlet Village originally, but the project ended up not moving forward. But again, I just wanted to highlight a couple of these projects that I felt directly related to our experience, design experience, and public engagement that I saw when Rick and I read your RFP for tonight. So talking about this particular petition with the Memorial Park, Pine Tree Park, and North Park. These feedback that I've read through the community redevelopment plan really stood out to me. The strong desire for an expanded waterfront with recreational improvements. And then of course with Memorial Park, the need for a new pavilion and dock. In the Pine Tree Park, potentially a new rowing facility, potentially an area for fishing docks, covered pavilions, and maybe some flex space for food trucks and special events. So that's what I'm reading when I'm looking through this RFP. In addition to the potential beautification of Forest Hill Boulevard. Now, if you look at the map in front of you, Lake Clark Shores highlighted in the red, it's really tough between a handful of different municipalities. You have West Palm Beach to the east, Lake Worth to the east, Palm Springs to the west, and unincorporated Palm Beach County spotting throughout. And when I look at this map, I highlighted in yellow Forest Hill Boulevard, which is the major commercial 6-lane arterial that really cuts through Lake Clark Shores. And I also read that the north-south pedestrian and bicycle access is difficult along that road, and the desire for improved mobility for pedestrian, bicycle, golf carts, and transit users. So I know there's a lot of text on this, but really want you to look at the photographs. So earlier in the presentation, I had mentioned how we had an FDOT team that specializes in roadway designs, and this is an example of one of the beautifications that our landscape architects at Cutler and Hearing did for the FDOT project. This is on SR7 and US 441, and this was a multimodal streetscape project. And you can see on the top picture, very tiny, all the way at the top is the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel, and so that's the direction of where it faces. It is in the city of Hollywood. This particular project addressed a major 6-lane arterial serving a heavily trafficked commercial and residential corridor. The focus of this particular design was to improve the user experience and the mobility of bicycle and pedestrian traffic while providing Florida-friendly landscaping throughout the project limits. A really interesting portion of this design as well is if you look on the picture on the bottom, on the right-hand side, we designed and created park-like linear ponds because they really had poor drainage infrastructure and they had roadway flooding. And so trying to come up with something that beautifies it, but is also functional, was a desire of this particular project to improve it within the roadways. And kind of coming back to why we're here tonight. So understanding, how do we improve the connectivity, pedestrian, bicycle, and golf carts? Also, is there an opportunity to improve the Forest Hill intersection and to make it safer to connect these three parks together? Potential for waterfront enhancements, wayfinding elements, signage. We saw that there's two signs on the north and the south announcing Lake Clark Shores. And, you know, how do we really add these different elements that tie into the park? And that's why we love what we do. That's why Rick and we love what we do. And we have the desire to really come up with something amazing to meet the needs of the community and with the council as well. And so just to close out a couple of conceptual design image ideas, you know, I saw a desire for golf cart access, multimodal access, potential access points to the parks, bicycle parking, dedicated bicycle arrival. You could also consider for these open spaces that are flex spaces, you might be able to hold yoga events, have pavilions with shade, just really to have many different desires of what the town and the council is looking for. And with this particular graphic, adding in those little, almost like a pop-up event, you know, you'd mentioned food trucks in the RFP, but maybe you have a pop-up with the 10 by 10 tents, and maybe it becomes like a once a week farmer's market or something temporary that provides an engagement to the town. And really that's up to you to give to us of what you're looking for that programming. And then of course, the last thing is maybe interactive art, sculptures. Can it be an educational raised garden bed, pavilions, and how do you connect to the Lake Clark Shores history and really just enhance and build upon your community? And so with that, we have a couple of minutes left, but I wanted to bring Rick from REG up just to close us out. But again, I thank you so much for your time tonight, and we're available to answer questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And good evening. Thank you again for the opportunity to assist Cutler Herring as part of the team. I've worked with some of you in the past, and it will be a great opportunity to work again. My father and I started REG in 1988, 36 years ago, and today my son and my daughter work with me, so it's a third generation in the family. We have 22 licensed architects professionals in our office, and we enjoy doing public work. We do a lot of public work. We just recently completed the city of Royal Palm Beach, their new city hall, and their parking lot. We designed it as a multimodal space, so it's plazas, so you can use it for different things, and a pavilion on the water that was on the lake that we kept. So we like to reuse things and create it in a way that it's multi-purpose. Other type of projects similar to your town would be the town of Lake Park, their waterfront park with their dockmaster buildings and their pavilions. And just very recently, just the last couple of years, the town of Palm Beach, the dockmaster facilities, really tiny little buildings right on the water, really small buildings, really kind of like little jewel boxes, you know, and I think that would be a great opportunity here. You have a great history in this town, and I've lived here now almost, next year will be my 40th year here in town, and came here after college. And every time my parents used to live in Wellington, I'd come down I-95 in Forest Hill, and you always go to the left, right? You always want to look to the left, right? Because it's such a beautiful view. And the community itself is in such a great shape. It's like a little jewel hidden over here. So what a great opportunity to use a little bit of architecture. And I'm hoping that you'll find the funds, you know, through fine or through some other sources of public monies to create a little special opportunity there on the park site. And so thank you very much for the opportunity tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
You want to see if
you're gonna get the next group?
you want
or
to see if there's any questions?
Do we have any questions for them at this time?
I did just a thought. What did you guys have for the park that's on the north side, that little 1 acre lot there? What did you guys have envisioned there? Because it's kind of easy to kind of see what Memorial Park and all those different things. Any ideas? I didn't see really any. I'm just curious. You don't really have to have a thought.
It's a great question. I didn't see any desires or specific wish list items within the CRA document, unless I missed it, but I didn't see anything specific in there. And it's quite a narrow area that,
Yeah.
you know, driving past it, I kind of feel like it was something that just provides that, you know, when you enter a space and maybe you have some elements on either side, identifying that you've come into this space, you're getting off 95, you're driving westbound, and it's really an opportunity. You have a sign there, you have a flagpole there, but maybe just rethinking, is there a way that it can tie in with any of the additional streetscape items in there? And perhaps that's something that we would really brainstorm with our FDOT landscape architects to see, can we create some sort of just more of a sense of entry into Lake Clark Shores. So it's a tricky space, but we're up for a challenge always.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Well, on the same lines, it just seems that that area is, you know, it's a narrow space and it's very limited. People don't want to cross the street. We talked about the safety of going north and south for people who live over there. If there's something that can be simplistic that could provide them an area, you know, obviously, if you're awarded the contract, then that would be something that would make the best of the future. But I think that I would like to see something done over there as well.
Absolutely. And I was excited to get in front of you tonight because looking through the RFP and creating the presentation, you know, I want to hear from you who best know the community. How is that space going to be used? Who is going to be the user of at least the northern part? Because you're right, it is a little intimidating crossing that road.
Yeah.
So
there's a few homes over there that I think would enjoy just the serenity of it without having to cross the street. And I don't know what demographic that would include, but you know, I just don't want to forget them.
absolutely.
Nicole, I have a just general question in this type of design and use of these spaces. Is like fitness equipment sort of passe? Like people don't really use these spaces that way anymore?
You know, it's hit or miss. And I say that because I hear what you're saying. Fitness equipment used to be so popular and then not as much. However, we're working with a number of different playground and play manufacturers for Pawkins Park, for a couple of the other parks that we're doing. And a lot of these manufacturers are coming out with these fitness equipment that is Bluetooth to your phone. So it's almost like you're doing a cardio machine and it connects to your phone, and it was mind blowing, the technology that they're using. So I think that there's an opportunity to explore that if that's a desire, but yeah, it's really what you want to do. But it's cool to see all the technology out there today.
Thank you.
Expand on that again. We just got back from a conference and there was a lot of new fitness type. It's not just the traditional we have out there. That's probably 20, 30 years old. A lot more active, and there's actually some that are ADA. I don't know if that's applicable in this sense, but there's a lot more that are user friendly. And I do see people use them, but I think it's the opposite. People don't go there because it's so antiquated. So we don't know. It's a hit or miss. So maybe, you know, obviously you get the community input, and if that's something they want, then we'll come explore.
Nicole, you touched on it a little bit, but could you give us a little more of your vision for the spaces?
Well, let's see, the North Park, again, is probably the most challenging one with it being so tiny of an area.
But how about the other two? What's your vision for those?
So I think there's a couple different ideas. With the CRA plan, I noticed something in there. So you crossed over for almost like if that bank expanded further west over Forest Hill Boulevard, there was a beautification of that canal or waterfront, lakefront. And I almost envisioned that continuing to be just a nice meandering path along that connects to both of the parks. I think that there's a real opportunity to tie the Pine Tree Park with Memorial Park. You have the street that comes through it, and I think there's an opportunity to really tie it in so that way the pedestrian has a stronger connection between there. So potentially providing for hardscape elements or other types of safety elements for pedestrians to cross. I know that there's a cross area there, but it just didn't feel like a strong connection between the two properties. And so working with Rick, we may be able to come up with a couple of ideas on how to really strengthen that. And it looks like Rick, you have You have an idea?
Just very quickly, they are installing equipment right now at Jose Marti Park in downtown West Palm Beach behind the Historical Society. I walk there all the time. I live and work downtown, so I'm very curious to see when it opens. And it's very nice equipment. It's very, very nice. You should go see it. And then the other thing is, I am a proponent of shade as much as possible in all of my buildings in downtown. And shade can be accomplished through landscaping, through shade structures, through pavilions, and also create an icon, an entryway or gateway on both sides of the park. So some sort of a straight shade structure, depending on budget, right? From something very simple to something a little bit more. But let's get shade, because it's just too hot outside.
Absolutely. I actually like the historical aspect of it as well. I think we need to bring that to light. I'm new to the town, and I would like to keep that, ongoing, as a lifelong event, not only for future generations who have kids and stuff. It's, I see the memorial plaques. I don't know all about who they are and how they contributed to the town. I think that should be brought to light. And I think AI is also a good way to do that as well.
Mr. Chair, I just have a process question. We can ask that they can stay or not stay, because most of the time they make their presentation and the presenters just leave. So is that okay with everybody? Because we're just going to rank in the, yeah.
Well, they got to drive to Jupiter.
Right.
They got a little ride.
Not Rick. Rick's right here.
3 exits.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Rick's 5 minutes away. Good seeing you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Take care.
much.
Thank
For
you.
your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, Nicole. Kimberly.
Yeah. Bring in Kinley Horn and Associates, please. Emily, thank you.
I'll just tell them the same thing.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Welcome.
Good evening. You have the floor.
Pardon?
You have the floor.
All right. Good evening, council people. We're super happy to be here tonight to represent the Kinley Horn team. My name is Jonathan Haig. I am a senior landscape architect. I've been with the firm for about 20 years. I've been practicing for almost 30. I've been dedicating almost my entire career to recreation master planning and parks design. And I have here with me my partners, Casey Long and Kristen Alexo. I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Casey Long. I've been with Kinley Horn around 7 years. I'm brought in for waterfront development and other aspects. My career's spanned over 28 years, working on seaports, marinas, kayak launches, boat ramps, all of these types of projects. I actually grew up in this area and in West Palm Beach area. I actually remember learning how to water ski when I was 8 out on the lake here, and have a lot of excitement and enjoy working on waterfront projects here locally.
Thank you.
And my name is Kristen Alexa. I will be the project manager for this project. I also am a landscape architect. I have nearly 10 years of experience working in the public sector on projects with Jonathan, on projects with Casey, on projects that are local here in this area. And it's one of my passions to really dive into local markets and serve that local community. So just a little overview about Kinley Horn. Like I said, our local team is here. Our office is just a 10-minute drive down the road in downtown West Palm Beach. I'm a downtown resident as well, so I'm in this area all the time. Kinley Horn has a nationwide presence, but we serve our local markets really well. With 5 offices here in South Florida, we really have the opportunity to pull from resources as we need to get what is necessary to get a project done. So why we're here tonight, to talk about the 3 parks that are really the gateway feature to your town. As you know, they are really in the prime area that is a gateway that can be a really unique feature for this town. We really want to make sure that when we're looking at these parks, they're not 3 separate parks. They are one combined unit that would make something that would really be impressive to visitors as they arrive here. So visiting these parks myself, dove a little deeper and looking through at North Park. It's the smallest of them, but it has the opportunity to be this lush gateway feature. The sign in its historic value is really nice as is, and this park can be improved, you know, with a few simple changes. Not many amenities could really fit here, but we can really look into what that could be. Memorial Park, as we look at that one, there's a lot of charming elements as you walk around. The stones that have the memorials there, we want to make sure when we're master planning this with you guys, we're looking at what those spaces mean to the community now and what other memorials could be incorporated in the future as your community grows. And with Pine Tree Park, this was your most shaded park. I really enjoyed my walk around here. It was in the middle of the day, so it was much of a relief to really walk under the mature trees that you have, and interesting to see the kind of exercise equipment that you currently have. And we're looking to understand how you want to update and keep that amenity in the park.
So looking back at 2016, there was a planning effort that was obviously done, at least to look at some kind of a vision for this park. And we agree with you that activating that waterfront is really important here. That's why we have Casey here to talk about, you know, kayak access, and he'll show you a little bit about that later. But also looking at flexible spaces. You talked about food truck events and things like that. So adding some plaza spaces or parking areas that can double as a food truck venue would be great. And what would you need for that? Some electrical infrastructure, possibly some plumbing to get water to the event. And creating the lighting in the atmosphere to really invite the residents into the area. Another key feature or key element that's shown in this diagram is the driveway right on to Forest Hill Boulevard. Our team comes with you know, a lot of resources, as Kristen mentioned, such as traffic engineers and FDOT experts that can help with permitting a new driveway access onto that street. But we also noticed that the town has done a great job of improving that intersection and providing that connectivity to the whole neighborhood, which is really nice to connect all three parcels. And Kristen's going to go a little bit more into our approach.
So as we were, you know, exploring these parks, what the connecting theme of all of them has is water. So the water is really, really important to what our vision and what we hope your vision holds, and how we can make that not only fun and beautiful, but safe. Knowing that we have project experience bringing people close to the water in a safe way. We'll show you that in a few slides later on, but we want to make sure that it's activated as well. So looking more at like what Jonathan was saying with planning of flexible spaces. That's why master planning is so important. You start day one understanding where you want to have certain events or what type of events you'd like to have. We can make sure that these spaces are programmed to be something that is more than one option. And with our depth of experience on this, we've been able to do this successfully before. Lastly, we know that the future is important. Sustainability is important. We're not designing something that's going to need to be revamped in 5 years. We're not designing something that is going to need constant repairs. We're going to look at what sustainable types of materials could really make this park these parks stand the test of time. So going into our project experience, like I said, in this park, we were able to bring people right to the water's edge. You can see how the pathway really gets people close to the water, but with a subtle edge treatment that still provides that safety barrier. The native muley grass really enhances how beautiful this is. I can envision seeing this right at Pine Tree Park, because in theory, if you're looking out at the bridge to Forest Hill, 95 would be in the background, but it still would make it really pretty of a view for 95. In this park, we were able to look at how a more lush landscape edge would really make a better feel for those visitors who come to this park. There's different opportunities for seating and experiences in this example.
And next, we're going to show you a park. This is Lake Worth Beach, a larger permitting effort because we're dealing with the coastal construction line and coastal permitting, but still showing our depth of experience in permitting complex projects on the coast shows how we can translate that to a smaller park project such as this one. In this case, you know, we implemented a whole lot of native landscape coastal landscapes that didn't need a whole lot of maintenance to keep that beautiful native look. Next up is, Kristen mentioned the trees. We want to retain the trees on the site because the shade they provide and the natural canopy that the trees offer, but also how to implement that in a park that has CPTED principles, which is crime prevention through environmental design. In this case, you can see all the plantings are relatively low to keep visibility around the park. We also are introducing lighting and seating and places to attract people, because people also helps prevent crime in a park. This slide shows some of the sustainable materiality. For example, the sidewalk in this one is made out of a permeable product that will allow the water to seep through the pavement and infiltrate back into the soil. These are items that can help with not only improving the water quality in the area by retaining that soil on site, not letting that first runoff hit the water, but also watering the native plants that we would propose in this park. Delay. And then another aspect of sustainability Kristen mentioned earlier is the materials in the items that we specify. In this case, there's a concrete picnic table. Well, concrete picnic tables are nice because they're not only very durable and long lasting, they can also be beautiful like these. Cool to the touch, especially when placed underneath a tree, but also very heavy. No one's going to come in and vandalize these and throw them into the river. And lastly, you have an existing fitness trail in Pine Tree Park. This is the newer style of the fitness, exterior fitness, which is more of a circuit based. And with the newer technology of using app-based fitness, you can do a workout here by just scanning a QR code and keep track of your fitness as you go through. But also the technology's like greatly expanded in the last 20 years. And these are like almost to the level of the equipment you'd see in a gymnasium. And I'm going to hand it over to Casey. Oh.
Few more here. So when I was out at Memorial Park, this image of this project that we worked on in Bradenton across the state came into my mind. The water is the opportunity. It's for that moment. Today's age is very heavily into social media. You want that Instagrammable moment. Boom. We can give you a frame that says, hey, take your photo here. And this still brings you to the water's edge. It invites you, but in a safe way. The next photo kind of does a similar thing. This playground is an option that we can help work with you guys to provide for your community. It's not only a play element, it's a sculptural element, and it can bring in educational components to the park to educate the children in the community about native animals that are in the area that also share the parks that we love here. Another option that we can do is hire more community artist involvement and create a playground that has sculptural elements to it. So while this is a standalone art piece in this park, this is also a play element that really allows children and adults to enjoy themselves on it and have a great time. So now Casey's going to talk a little bit more here about our waterfront.
Well, as you can see, we have a wide variety of waterfront experience, and we bring that to you here for this project. Our waterfront experience is important because we believe in bringing people to the water and helping them connect. And no matter the size, we can scale ourselves to the different types of projects that are there. We understand the complexities of small projects and large projects. We understand kayak design. We understand the need for waterfront permitting, the need for the fishing pier on this project, and we know how to design those elements. Why are we showing you all these projects from all over the place? It's more to show our experience. We have relevant projects that have been constructed. We've done these projects before, and we bring that group of people firm-wide, regionally, and locally as resources to our team to be able to implement these projects. With the understanding of how to do each of these projects, excuse me, we also understand and want to bring to you the importance we have of community and creating spaces and places for the community to enjoy. And you may have noticed through each of these slides, there was award winning, award winning, award winning. We didn't win these awards because we weren't focused on the community. We won these awards because that's why we were focused on. We were focused on the community and trying to make sure the community's needs were in place. With that, I'll pass it on.
And lastly, Casey mentioned that all these projects were built projects, all these slides preceding this one. These are all renderings, digital renderings that can help explain a project to the public. These are all renderings that we did digitally in 3D, but they help in the public involvement, which Kristen's going to discuss here right now.
So we've done a variety of public engagement over the years and in different scales, depending on what the community needs and how we best want to serve the community. We can do anything from surveys to workshops with a focus group or with multiple members of the community and different types of stakeholder engagement. We noticed on your calendar, you have some events coming up like the Monster Mash food truck and tree lighting event. Those could be events where we come and talk to the community. We could bring concepts and see what type of amenities really draw their attention or what their needs are and how we can meet them. We could also do a pop-up park event where we have something like a food truck event at Pine Tree Park and see if people are really intrigued by this and how we could make it work on the site. We've got multiple ways where we can get the community involved early, and we want to make sure that we hear and understand what the needs are to implement into the design. And then Jonathan's going to talk a little about how we can help fund this.
Right. So it's appropriate that we're here on a night where we're talking about budget. So Kimley Horn has a wing of our business where we do grant services, and we have last year we won $2 billion in funding for our clients. We have an internal app that we use that's shown on the screen called Grant Source, what we use to research the varieties of grants that we have found throughout in funding sources. We actually use that to develop a list of some of the funding sources that we've seen for a park such as this, a waterfront park with passive uses, with a lot of connectivity and bicycle facilities as well. And we think that there's a lot of opportunity out there for the town to find some funding for this park to fund it, because we did some little bit of research. We're not sure if a budget has really been identified thus far, but having additional money for a park is a pretty good deal.
So if you can't tell, we're excited. We love serving our local markets. I personally love watching a project start from the beginning, get planned, get into construction documents, and get built. The best part is going from that master planning to grand opening, watching the families come and enjoy these spaces that you've worked so hard to create for your communities. We really want to make sure that we do it right and we do what's best for your community. So we want to make sure that when we've shown you examples of how we've done this before, we are experienced in this and we know how to make your vision and our vision work together and become a reality. So we are ready to get started, and any questions that you have, we'd be happy to answer.
Do we have any questions?
How many of those grants were in Palm Beach County?
Great question.
The county, you mean county-based grants or the used in Palm Beach County?
Used in Palm Beach for Palm Beach County projects.
Of the $2 billion, I'm not sure if I can answer that right off the top of my head, but we've used the grants that I'm sure your staff is also aware of, like FERDAP locally, some of the shade grants that are available nationwide, things like that. But there are other grants that we did research that could be applicable to this as well.
From federal money, state money, private?
It's a variety. Some of it's federal, some of it's state, and some of it is federal trickling down through the state. And then there's also private grants as well that we've found over the years.
I don't know if you all had a chance to go by the boat ramp, but we use grant monies for that boat ramp area there also, which has some non-motorized portal there for canoeing, kayaking, but there's always room for more space. That's one of my things has been the head of the lake, and how do we enhance that and open that up to boat traffic? To parking is an issue. It can be very dangerous when we do have events. And I like all of this stuff because I'm a community building guy. I want to build community, but the safety is paramount also. And the parking, I don't know if you all were aware, Joe made you aware, but on the Pine Tree Park side over there, it has a substrate underneath that the grass grows through, allow the cars to park. Just getting them to go in there and park properly, that's the big issue. So, okay. Any other questions? No?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good seeing you all.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
This is.
Do we leave a hose on or is it raining that bad?
It's raining.
Viscovich?
I left my umbrella.
Hopefully it cooled it down for us.
Okay. Yeah, you're on your own now.
That's it.
I asked Emily.
And I'm
She
like,
didn't even tell me.
That's it.
Hi.
Hi, how are
Good
you?
evening. How are you
Good
tonight?
evening, everyone.
This is pronounced Ziskovich.
So yes,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you for having us. I'll tell you a little story.
Okay.
You ready for us to start?
Yes, you're
Okay.
ready.
So actually, my firm that I've been with for 32 years is Sinilovsky Romanek Saye. We merged with Siskovich a year ago. SRS, and I'll abbreviate it that way because we've got lots of complicated names, has been in practice serving South Florida for 36 years total. So we have a long history of working with municipalities. Actually, let me practice my quickly. And we have a strong history. Siskovich is a larger firm that has an office here in Palm Beach. SRS's office is in Fort Lauderdale. It's a path that we know well. We are currently working we just wrapped up at FP&L up in Juno Beach. We've worked with Palm Beach Gardens on several projects, and some of those being parks projects also. And then we also just were awarded a contract with Palm Beach County to help them on a continuing services contract. I'm used to the route. It's a neighborhood I like to be in, so we come here quite often. Our team is complemented by our MEP engineer, which is West Palm Beach based with OCI MEP engineering. We're working with them currently at FAU at the Holocaust and Jewish Studies building that's going on the campus in Boca. We're working with our civil and landscape, which is Miller Legg. That's a long history of collaboration with them, and we're currently working on a project for the City of Miami Gardens, and we're working on a project with East Bradenton Splash Pad. So we've had many, many years of working together, but those are our actives. We're also working with our structural engineer, which is a long-standing relationship for about 35 of those 36 years. He's really great, and he's in Lauderdale. That's our team and our org chart, how it works. Supporting me is our project team in the office. There'll be 5 folks assigned to this, and I'm going to show you their pictures because they're not with me today. You might as well see their faces. Steve Hatzidakis and Chris Bray have both been with us for 25 and 30 years collectively, not individually. And Myra and Nicholas have been with us a little less recently, but they bring extraordinary talents to the team. To the right side of the chart is our supporting team of MEP and civil engineering and landscape engineers. Some unique qualifications that we have is that I am certified with the chiefs of police, and safety is number one, making sure this is a safe place to be, understanding that the world is a different place, and making sure that we design spaces that are also well done and safe to be in. We also, I'm a licensed architect, but I'm also an interior designer. You're going to say it's a park. What does that mean? It still has a sensitivity to the texture, to the finish, and the maintainability of the spaces. So it's a sensitivity that I have. As far as sustainability, we have always bringing sustainability to our projects. We have a handful of certified projects using the LEED criteria and then also now Green Globes. So we're seeing more and more people opting to go Green Globes. It's built into the code, a lot of information, but we always bring more information to the projects and making sure it's sustainable. We have worked within over 50 municipalities in the state of Florida, and we have done over 390 municipal projects. 12 of those municipalities that we worked in are all-American cities. We like to think that we're a part of that success and a part of making them extra special and extra attentive to the community's needs and making sure we take care of them. We have done a series. This is our list of parks and recreation projects that we've worked on. We like to pride ourselves in repeat business. You can see that we've been able to be not just one project in many of them, but multiples in many of them, and come back over and over and help them build an infrastructure that is bar none. We've done over 115 parks and recreation projects, and our civil and landscape partner has done over 300 parks and recreation projects. We know how to do them. We know how to do them well. We know how to collaborate with one another and create great projects for our clients. This is a project that we wrapped up not too long ago in Coconut Creek called Windmill Park. They acquired that land that you see to the bottom side of the screen, which was a part of a farm piece of land. And we expanded Windmill Park, renovated the park that you see to the top side of that image, added the dog play areas, fitness areas, water's edge. That park actually wraps around that entire lake and encompasses over 29 acres. But the piece that we had the most influence was this lower end, both on the soft side, if you will, with the meandering pathways and the fitness courses, the playgrounds, and then the courts got refreshed in all the playgrounds. And they also do food court activities at that park. Dr. Lester Brown Park is a project that we wrapped up last year for the City of Miami Gardens. A little bit more of an active park because of the football play area, but there still is this trail that meandered through some existing trees they had. We don't have a lot of trees, but we tried to maximize the pathways through there and make a course that people could walk and come to in the mornings at the end of the day and feel safe and enjoy the community and also play and have a good time. And so it's a mix of passive and more active play. This is one I just was at the ribbon cutting before I got here. This is an old armory building in the city of Hollywood. We came in and it was dark and it was dusty and it was hot. No air conditioning in the space. And we came in within the span of just over a year in construction, made it light, bright, and cool. It's a really great space, both functionality and how you take a repurpose an existing infrastructure and bring new life to it. We're really, really proud of that one and got a lot of nice feedback today. So it was a good day. This is Rolling Oaks Park, which we're currently wrapping up with Miller Leg. It's a park in the City of Miami Gardens. It is more of a passive park, beautiful oak trees. And I want you guys to know that you got some beautiful oak trees over on the pine tree side. And we want to maintain those and we want to celebrate them. We took the roads and meandered them because there was no connector road. They expanded the park delicately and graciously so that you can feel that experience of going through those rolling oaks. It should be opening here in the fall and we're pretty excited to open this guy up. And lastly, this is a project that we were not the architect of record of, but Miller Leg worked on this project. It's for Doral, and it's a lot of similarity to your project and the fact that it's activating that waterway and finding ways to engage. There's kayak launches, there's pathways and wetland areas, fishing areas, some playground areas and some soft play, but they have a larger community center than maybe you will have, but you got the boathouse as part of your project scheme. So it's really wonderfully done. Really peaceful place to be, and that would really be our goal for creating your spaces to make sure that it is still that small community space. But when you have that larger event, you find ways to accommodate that. So how we articulate that and how we define it is very important. Just a little bit of our approach. We have what we call a 9-step approach, where step 1 is we gather. I'm going to share a concept with you today, but it's without the benefit of spending time with you. And when we do engage on a project, we spend time with you. We spend time with you as the council. We spend time with the community and ask all the right questions to make sure that we hit all the right notes. And at the end of the day, we build consensus so that people can feel good and proud about the money that's being spent and what we bring to the community. We build that consensus. That's our step 2. Then we start sketching and starting to add layers of information that start to go graphic. And then when you can share it with the community, make sure everybody understands it, everybody's clear on what the approach is. And then we refine it, and that's when we start developing concepts as far as what types of pathways is it going to be? What types of landscape materials do we want to introduce? What type of air conditioning systems? All those types of conversations. And then 5 is when we document. That's the true construction documents. That's the things that goes to the contractor so they can build from. Then we permit it, and then we bid it, and then we construct it, and then we celebrate with you. And that's our favorite thing to do, which is why I'm extra happy today. So we love coming to the community and bringing something lovely to them. This is your existing park. I know you've heard 2 other presentations and you know exactly what you've got to work with. We visited, got to know a little bit about it just in preparation today. And again, so what I'm going to share with you is kind of my initial thoughts and some mood imagery and some thoughts of how we think it can be transformed in a very gracious way to your community without having that conversations with you all though. There's your master plan, and we know that we want to bring a boathouse. We want to activate the waterway. We want to bring fishing piers. We want to really make it safer, easier to get around, both by pedestrian, vehicular, and golf carts. Parking and trying to solve some solutions with that without being too aggressive. And then signage and how we really approach Forest Hill Boulevard, and we really make it more attractive. We believe that through some signage, we can really activate that. There's some stellar examples out there, and we will pick the one that is perfect for you and meeting with you and kind of vetting that. It needs to be a simple, clean statement and very elegant, but something that is also engaging and colorful so that you can know that you've entered someplace different as you come to Lake Clark Shores. Other concept imagery that we need to solve is how do we park the golf carts safely? How do the golf carts get to and from and through the park safely, across Forest Hill safely? Because there's kind of a little rocky road that kind of ends at that crosswalk and then to the neighborhood to the north. And really finding ways to engage that lifestyle, because there really is an opportunity there to attract more folks that are like-minded with the golf cart community that's already existing. Also, you guys don't have bus stops, which bus stops would actually add some site furniture along the streetscape, which I think could be really engaging and really add that other element of connectivity, some site furnishings, and really start to activate that space and make it a safer place to be. So you're not just standing there on the side of the road. You've got a place to be and sheltered from the weather if in fact you're taking advantage of public transportation. Concept for pavilions, walkways, and picnic tables, just sharing simple thoughts. The architecture in the community is primarily mid-century modern. I'd like to try to connect to that in some way so that it doesn't feel like it's too stylistic in one direction as we start to look at what the structure can be. So simple lines, overhanging planes, simple column structures. There's really ways rather than buying the kind of standard package that we can bring something a little unique to each of those pavilions. The actual textures and finishes, again, durable, maintainable. There's some really great concrete picnic tables and things out there, really great textures and finishes as far as the walkway that aren't just concrete only or asphalt only. You can have a balance of each and really activate that and maybe even introduce in some wood looking components, which will tie to your nautical presence being here on the lake. A little bit of a delay. And concepts as far as the boathouse activities and the docks and the piers. We sometimes think of as fishing pier as kind of one continuous little walkway, and what if there were little jut outs into the community and then these little enclaves and pockets. As far as the boathouse, I'd like to think that it would be transparent because we don't want to build a warehouse that really blocks the view. So finding ways to kind of create that structure so that you engage in the rowing and the boating community without it really blocking 100% the visibility out to that waterscape. So these are just some concept thoughts that were put together. The food trucks and the festival areas, lots of ways to achieve that. We really want to activate and enliven the space and create pathways that are easily converted from the typical day-to-day, which is walking, biking, and goofing around, right? The community does, but also has the pluggability, the connectivity, and kind of the flow that you want when it's a day that you got a big festival, a day that you got the food trucks and really help enliven the community. So we were as bold and as brash to give you a little bit of a solution based on what we know so far. Basically what we'd like to do is kind of improve all the pathways. Pathways today are about 4 feet wide. Really you want about an 8 foot wide pathway. That way two people walking side by side and a bike can pass. Golf carts can drive a little bit more safely without hitting the shoulder and being a little less comfortable. So widening those pathways, that would also allow us to get wide enough where the vehicle for the food trucks could pull onto and then pull off into a soft shoulder that would allow them to park along it. When you see tag number 4, I think it is, or yeah, 4, is the food trucks, those colorful little rectangles, that would be a food truck triangle, if you will, with an open area in the middle. We'd sprinkle the picnic pavilions around, provide some landscape and some shade for those picnic pavilions along it, along the water's edge, along the canal side, have those fishing pop-outs, if you will, that jut into it. And then at the east end, have your boathouse and actually put a pavilion out there too. So you could have an outdoor event, yoga class under the shade, some sort of lecture series, something can be out there, or even just a little party birthday type event that you'd have a sheltered space to be. And then the boat launch side of it. On the memorial side, again, strengthening that, bringing some picnic tables to that side and the Shane Pavilion also. And then cleaning up really that signage edge and really engage the street on the south side. And then leaving the memorial fountain where it is, because I'm certain it has historic significance, maybe improve the textures to the finishes and things like that. But I think it's probably an iconic piece for you all. So kind of engaging it. We'd want to try to introduce some parking along Pine Tree if we could. I think the original master plan showed 90-degree parking, which made me personally a little bit nervous just because you can't really see till you're out far enough, and people coming down Pine Tree could whip that corner pretty quickly and do it. But what we've done is shown some parallel parking along there, a little bit safer, a little bit slower of approach, and really they'll see you coming in and out as you maneuver, and it's just a safety concern. I'd like to clean up all the crosswalks across Pine Tree and then certainly across Forest Hill so that it's a safer experience for the folks coming from the north down or from the south north. And whether you're coming on that bus stop, you know, we want to make sure people feel good and safe about coming there. So continue that drive, if you will, all the way across. We could also look to introducing some parking along that northern side. That's where it's a little softer because it's purely a residential street where we would have the opportunity to pull out in a 90 degrees if we wanted to bring more parking to that side. Or we could actually find some other solution. Maybe it's golf cart parking only, right? We can kind of do that. What I'd like to do is have that sign cleaned up, the bus shelter there, and then continue a walkway out to a pier along the north side. So that way the folks at the north don't feel, you know, that they have to cross if they don't want to. And the kids that just want to drop a pole in the water have that opportunity on the north side as well, because there is a little smither of water frontage along there. And I think that's primarily what I wanted to share. Just a little bit, we did our homework about where we'd have to permit through and what we'd need to do to make this happen and to navigate it. We've worked with many of these agencies before, successfully doing it before. Working in the water adds another layer of complexity, and working adjacent to a FDOT road is also another layer of complexity, but something that we're doing actively, and we can make sure that we're as successful as possible. What makes us different? We're committed to community. It is really personally my favorite thing to work on, is things that really have direct impact to the neighbors and the neighborhoods. We're very collaborative in how we work. We're good communicators. We like to ask the questions, but we're even better listeners and making sure that you all feel heard and a part of the experience. We're research-based in our decision-making. We did a lot of homework to come into this so we could share with you kind of what's out there, what's trending, what's popular, and what people are really enjoying nowadays. We're consensus builders. We're good leaders. We're client partners. We want to help you, not for this one, but maybe some future things that are going on out there. And we like to think that we can bring some design excellence to Lake Shores, or Lake Clark Shores. And with that, we've won a few awards over the years, and just share those. And at the end, that's our group down in Fort Lauderdale. We like to have a little bit of fun. We like the water too. This is our holiday card, so it's a fun crowd, and I look forward to meeting, letting you meet them one day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Pretty comprehensive.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, the next step, Charlie and I can guide you through, but you can fill out the evaluation form by yourselves, or you can actually, you can actually talk. You can talk about what you liked and disliked about some of the presenters and score as you go. So it's up to you. What do you want to add, Charlie?
Everyone like to proceed. I have a quick question, Chief.
Yes.
Answer this question for me. What is the the law required for, because I know that we permit our golf carts here in Lake Clark Shores for less than the state actually does that. So does that prohibit the golf cart from crossing Forest Hill Boulevard, or what? I mean, what's, talk to us about that. Because I would love to have that access over into there, but I know there's rules and
We
regulations.
did make kind of an access. You have to be very careful, but actually, the statute does not want golf carts driving on a major highway. So it'd be like local streets, 25 and under 30. But you could cross the highway at a intersection. When you do the pedestrian walk, you could do that. And the town did put some gravel in on the north side where you can make that crossing, but you'd have to be very, very careful. But you
Okay,
can
so
do that.
just so the people from the north side know that they can have access without, I mean, I know that's our jurisdiction, but they also want to be able to feel safe that there's not going to be a problem for them crossing from that side to this side,
Yeah,
or
this-
vice versa.
Right. This would be something I would discuss with the manager, and he'll get back with you on. But right now, people do it.
Oh, yeah.
I've done.
No, they do. It just becomes a liability issue in my eyes. I don't know how, not even to us, but to them, to each individual. You see what I'm saying? So-
We have not had anybody injured over the years, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But other communities have actually had fatalities when the golf carts got on major thoroughfares.
Well, our whole goal when we did this planning through the Treasure Coast Planning Organization was to create access via the golf carts,
Right.
which is why we have that
Well, the
connected
town
to
brought
that
in
net.
engineers and everything was
Yeah.
engineered.
So it's a good thing to consider, just because a lot of these items that they're bringing to our attention, like on the east side, putting in piers and putting in boathouses and things like that, some of that's going to enter into South Florida Water Management District. It's going to enter into Lake Worth Drainage District. And at the last meeting, I sat with both of those and the guys from Waste Management. I was at their table. I looked for the big, you weren't there, so I said, who am I going to sit with that I can talk to? And it worked out beautifully. They were all at one table. I said, that was a home run. So those are just things for us to consider, when we look at this and what we want to do and where we want to go. So is there any other comments anybody has, or concerns or thoughts, or?
I probably should know this, but do we actually have bus stops right now out there?
There is a bus
And they're
stop
across from each
closer to
other?
the bank.
Okay.
There's a bus stop closer to the bank. And I put in my notes, could or would they move that? Because that's a Palm Beach County item. So would they or could they move it? I think it's in its position it's in to help service the bank and some of the offices that are in those 3 units there that are on the corner of Forest Hill and Florida Mango. So
I don't know if it's, I know on that north side, on that sidewalk, it seems like there's I don't know if a cutout or it's just the intersection, but it seems to be a little bit larger on that side. Like it's a place to, if you had your car broke down or something.
on the north side of, oh yeah, for like where the transition area is there. Yeah.
Would that be transitioned into a bus stop?
That'd be something you'd have to deal with the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
petition the county.
Yeah.
But it's always better if it's designed by an architect, and then you show that and you bring that rendering to the county, and you just basically ask if they can do it.
And that's why I put it in there. Could they, or would they actually even move it? Because it's got to be logistically serving a purpose, even though possibly they'd add another one. You never know. You know what? If you don't ask, you don't know. So
Exactly.
exactly. So
No, I know, and it's, when you start involving other agencies, it gets a little complex. And sometimes-
exactly. So which is why we're planning, why we're talking, because there's a lot to consider. I saw how they talked about the public input, which I think is good too, because there's a lot of people with good ideas and thoughts that they'd like to see and have. And I just know that a lot of things I hear over the years from going there is the parking when there's events is a little difficult. It's dangerous at times, especially if we're doing events that are at night and there's children around, and the police department does a very good job of securing the area and stuff, but still, that's why they're called accidents, because nobody means to do it, but it happens. So it's just, food for thought.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Now, and before I ask my final question, which has nothing really to do with this plan per se, but as far as funding options, I noticed there were grants and things that they mentioned for funding. Joe, we plan on using the money in the CRA for this master plan, this project?
Yes.
Okay. And then what is the timeline for something like this? I know we're doing this plan and everything in government is slow. That's, it's nature of the beast, but what is a timeline for something like this so we can start to think about when we're going to be enjoying this? All these pictures we just saw tonight. I mean, I like to have a timeline. I'm going to be.
No, that's a great question. And let me give you a little background. Obviously, when I drive around the town and obviously when I go out with you all, Bridget, we take a lot of golf cart rides. And when you go to community park, when you go to town hall park, they're basically planned out. You can see there's a plan there. The amenities are planned out. There's not really a plan there at Memorial and Pine Tree Park. So to me, it's a golden opportunity to look for the next 20 years, what should be there instead of just putting things there without a master plan. So you get a plan in place, hopefully within a year, and then you start picking away what you want to do first and how the phases want to be. The FERDAP grants are great. Under $50,000, it's 100% reimbursed if you actually awarded those grants. After that, it's a 75-25 match. Those are really one of the things you try to target for parks. But there's other grants, land resource and other things that deal with water. But the thing is, why do something before we have a master plan? So I think we need a master plan. It's to me, it's a clean canvas right now. It's just a very, thank you for the professionals thanking me. But it's just ready to be planned out for the future.
So, this may be a little, I don't want to say controversial, but it's just a thought. That little piece of land that we have there.
North Park?
Yeah, well, no, the land that's been foreclosed and cleared.
Oh, okay.
Right connected to the park.
Yes.
And I know we don't really necessarily have a plan for that right now, but is that something that we can maybe look at expanding?
100%. I mean, obviously, I'm going to explain that the whole landscape of the town and that's available. And
Would that property fall under the CRA?
no, it's not in the CRA, but it's part of the town. So,
Right.
Obviously, we would definitely explain
So
that
there could be
property.
some kind of grant money awarded that could use that to be able to fix that potentially to something that's.
You try not to be closed-minded when you do a master plan. Everything's open and let's come up with the best ideas and see how to fund them later.
And then the master plan, I haven't seen it. Does it include, I know we've been looking at a lot of business growth and changes on Forest Hill, related to bringing in tax dollars and businesses and different things. Would this kind of all be, you talk 20 years from now, hopefully we've got more businesses in Lake Clark Shores, we've got more revenue being generated from those folks, but is that part of this strategy?
100%. Parks develops the quality of life, and businesses and residents will want to come here if you have beautiful parks.
Yeah.
When you talked about the grant, that's to augment and supplement the actual CRA funding?
Yes. Yes.
Can we make general comments about things that we thought were good at this time, since
It's up to the chairman.
Yeah,
I just want
we're
to.
talking in the sunshine here. Ted,
Yeah,
so if you don't talk to us, we don't know what you're thinking.
I just want to say how much I appreciate that we had two, what I consider very local firms with talented teams and great experience, very different visions for what they presented. But I just wanted to say that I appreciate that they were local and understand our culture here and touched on some of our history. And that's something that is so important to me personally. So.
I agree with Joe. Let's go for the gusto and then we'll figure out how to pay for it later. Get a good plan going. Let's make a plan.
That makes
Plan your work
Vice
and
Mayor
work your
Mabel's
plan.
very nervous.
So
And
this
then
is
we'll
a
see.
Christmas list, really.
So
It's a
tell us,
$40,000
remind the
Christmas
audience, Joe, where we are with funds in the CRA, which is also free money, pretty much, by the way.
Well, it's not
Kind of.
totally free money.
Well, but it's money we get.
We get a contribution from the county. that we normally would not get to fund our CRA. So our taxes were frozen in that area at $25 million in that corridor, and everything over and above $25 million goes into the CRA. So the town still gets the first 25 million, and everything after that, the county gives us their portion of taxes, which normally would go to the county, goes to us to redevelop and revitalize our West Palm Beach corridor, which I think has tremendous opportunity, being 5 miles from the airport, being 4 miles from downtown. If we build a quality park, businesses will come, corporate headquarters will come, quality development will come.
Absolutely.
So,
all right, so what's our next step? We need to fill out.
you need to rank them. And again, you can do it out loud, or you can do it just by yourselves, and we can just add them up. It's however you'd like to do it, but you do have to sign the document and tell us who you are on each document. Because it's government in the sunshine.
Government in the sunshine, don't you love it?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's back in here.
I see we got two. Being a CPA, I can't add, so we're gonna have to help.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I'm not,
I did.
I got one. You want to help me, Charlie? Let's see if there's specific places. Is there somebody's signature on there? Yes. Okay. We got two with a signature. We've got three. So the summary page, the summary right here,
Very different vision.
the tally sheet. You see that? Okay. So.
Mhm.
Some of these are unknown here, Joseph.
While he's doing that, I can go to the next item and we can go
Go
back.
Okay.
Because the Jets are playing right now, so. Should have the game on. But the next item, Mayor, is the contract for community park for lighting. As I explained to the council about a year ago, projects that are under $100,000, it's hard to get contractors and vendors to bid on them because they have to fill out a 30-page document. So it's on, cities are raising these sealed bid processes to hundreds of thousands. Some are even looking at $500,000 before you go out for a sealed bid. Our limit is at $50,000. We did increase it from 10,000 to 50,000 a year ago. So we really were too low, but still when we're at that $100,000 range, it's hard to get bids. Just so give you a little bit of background on what we did. When we looked at community, we're looking for a lighting project at Community Park, from lighting from the pickleball courts to the parking lot, because at night it's very dark. And obviously with daylight savings changing pretty soon, it's a hazard. So we got an informal bid from a contractor at about $70,000. We said, let's go out to bid because we have to go out for, unless the council waives that provision. We went out to bid throughout the whole county on Demand Star, which is on the internet. Everyone sees it. We got 2 bids only because of this issue with people not wanting to fill these things out. And it wasn't from even the vendor that wanted to do the project, who still wants to do the project for around $70,000. The 2 bids we got were about $134,000 and $94,000. So we have 3 options. The 3 options are, we can just throw out these bids and rebid it. You can award the bid to the highest ranked firm, which is the $134,000, believe it or not, and I can negotiate a contract that's lower and bring it back to you. Or third, which I'm recommending, is we throw out the bids, we waive the sealed bid process, and I get informal bids in writing and try to get this within budget, which is less than $80,000. So to get this project online, try to get it before daylight savings. So I'm recommending that third option, but it's obviously up to you all.
I concur with your opinion.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We've done our due diligence.
Yes.
And now we have to do what's right with the money too, so.
That's my fiduciary responsibility.
Yes. Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Motion to throw out the.
Can you just read it? It's pretty lengthy on the, yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
It's right, this one.
The staff recommendation?
Yeah.
Make a motion that the CRA staff recommends the CRA commission reject both proposals, waive the bidding requirements to not require sealed bids due to not being advantageous to the CRA. Direct staff to obtain 3 quotes from electrical contractors and contract with the lowest firm that does not exceed $80,000.
We have a second?
I will second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
Thank you so much. We'll try to get it back on schedule. Charlie, how we doing? Got one more?
We're waiting.
Still waiting. We have anything else on the CRA? No, right?
No, that's it. Are you gonna tally these up and give the thing now, or are you gonna
Yeah, there's,
contact later or in
no,
writing, or?
there's a motion we have to do in the CRA.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wait, Charlie. It's a good time to take a drink, get a cup of coffee.
Are there any more?
Put on the Jet game. None of the bidders are like the Jets, right? If you like the Jets.
Joe's picking them to win the AFC East.
No.
You're gonna have to go this way, but I'm gonna add the total.
They won yesterday. Yeah, but barely. What was it, 3 points?
It should come out.
Yeah.
I'm more like college sports, so. Go Gators. I went to UF. Those Florida teams are always so good.
Should have the Jeopardy music theme playing right now.
It's like painful. They all wear their stuff.
Yeah, what?
They're like Florida State.
Oh, FSU.
Yeah.
Just double check those.
You want me to have him reroute it, put the numbers in?
No, he did it on the other.
Oh, he did on the other. Okay. Oh, he did.
Yeah. Let me just double check these. Sometimes the calculator on the phone.
No, you're right. No, you're good. The highest bidder is Cutler and Herring. So just need a motion for that. It's,
I will make a motion to, for the staff to negotiate the contract to Cutler, with Cutler and Herring.
yes.
Second, is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for coming tonight. We do appreciate everything.
Thank you again.
So let's see, Joe, did you have one last thing on here
No,
that
that
we
was-
need to
that-
cover? or-
That was it.
All right, because I noticed there was some more. Is there any further comments by the commission? Is there any?
I would like to just say that, just from a proposal standpoint, the thing that I liked about Cutler was first, the nice package was really super helpful. And then what I like most is actually their vision board for the audience, just having this vote you like or you dislike, so the town can actually make a decision on this. So it's just not us picking this, but you guys actually have a vote and they really listen to us and you guys decided what you like. That was kind of what pushed them over the edge for me. And so I thought that was really super helpful, have the town really involved in this process for the parks that we're all going to enjoy one day.
Absolutely. Wonderful community engagement package. And I also thought they really hit the nail on the head with connecting public art and the usage and the golf carts and just the overall presentation. I thought they understood our way of life here.
Yeah, I tried to stump her with that North Park question, but she's like, yeah, well, I see where you're going with that. So it was kind of good, but yeah.
I enjoyed the vision. I also like the history aspect, preserving the history of Lake Clark Shores and bringing that to light.
Good. Good? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda 3.
Okay, yep, let's move on to the next one. I told you, Joe, maybe halftime now. I know where you live. All right. Let's move on to the regular Town of Lake Clark Shores Town Council meeting, September 9th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gregory Freebold,
Here.
Vice Mayor John Maples,
Here.
President Pro Tem Bridget Keating,
Present.
Councilmember Taylor Materio,
Here.
Councilmember Christie Mossbach.
Still here.
Okay, very good. You're still here, huh? I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Any audience comments? Anybody? No audience comments? No? Anything emailed? Nothing? Nothing written in? Okay. Take a motion for approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion for consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have no presentations. No quasi judicial proceedings, no public hearing, unfinished business. Authorization to foreclose on a property located at 1740 Carissa Road. That's.
Yeah, hopefully this is just a formality, Mayor, because they came in last Wednesday, the 4th, and they paid the $128,700 lien. So we ask for a motion to foreclose if the check does not clear,
If it does not clear.
if it doesn't clear.
Okay. So do we want a motion in that
Yes.
direction?
Yes, please. And it's, the motion's that way. If it says if the check does not clear.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. New business. Lien reduction requests at 7730 Westlake Drive. Come on up, folks.
Good evening.
Can you state your name and your address,
Yeah,
please?
state your name and address. And
Ahmad Ayub, current resident 8081 Westlake Drive, but we're here for 7730.
yes.
Hi, I'm Nermeen Hannah. I am a resident in Lake Clark Shores for the past 24 years.
Okay.
Quite some time.
Can you state your address, please?
7756 Nemec Drive.
Thank you so much.
So we're here basically for coming to address the issues that are coming on this property. I know there was a lot of issues on this home. It is very unfortunate that we had a lot of delays that happened since we obtained ownership. I'm not sure that the rest of you are familiar with the issues that happened with this property, but we originally obtained title in 2022. I mean, my brother obtained title in 2022. And since that time, we had some family members that came up, some family members that from the previous owner, family members, that arose some issues and allegations, and therefore we had to have past 2 years in court trying to rectify the issues. And finally, there was a recent order that was issued in July 2nd, addressing the property to be legally titled in Legacy Trust, which is him. My role in this whole project is to basically be the helper. Since I lived in Lake Clark Shores for quite some time, I have been doing foreclosures for at least for about 22 years. So yes, I've been doing my first property was when I was 18 years old. I have always done foreclosures for a long period of time, and I really enjoy doing them. I do enjoy having to flip a property and make it from a very unenjoyable scene to a very pleasurable scene. I have built many properties over in Lake Worth. I have done many projects of new constructions, about maybe 12 projects, new constructions. And we're really looking forward to turn this property from a very inhabitable, very disliked image to a really very welcoming home to a new family to come to in Lake Clark.
So long story short, we basically try to get this property back up in shape. So like a couple of years ago, I was actually standing here in front of you guys, and before this investigation got started and the allegation started, then we had to go right back to the drawing board. We actually had a roof permit submitted. The roof was pretty much sinking at that point, still sinking now. We had another roof permit submitted recently. That got held up. And we're doing our best. Emily's been great trying to work with us, but it's just been kind of, tough to get to where we need to get. So we have the roof permit. Everything is ready to go. We're trying to get started to get it back up and running. I know it's an eyesore for a lot of neighbors. It's an eyesore for our whole neighborhood. Driving past it, I know the people in front of it hate it. So we've just been trying to get it fixed and up and running. It's just been a real struggle. So, and the liens continually added up and added up and added up. It was just never putting a pause on it. On top of that, I felt like there was double work that was being done. There was lawn care and everything that was being charged to the mortgage. On top of that, I know that it was also getting billed to Lake Lock Shores. I don't know where that stands either. So that we have record of that as well, saying that, there were continuously, the bank was sending lawn people to take care of the lawn.
Yeah, just to give you a clear idea, with dates. On June 2nd, 2024 is the date that the final order was issued for the ownership to be clear and to be totally to Legacy Trust. That was July 2nd, 2024. July 10, we had submitted the permit for the roof. And the roof permit has been issued, but there was a hold regarding some concerns that the building department had.
2022.
No, that was, I'm
No,
talking about
for
the recent
original
one.
permit.
There was an original permit that was in 22, but then that went on hold since there was dispute with title. So then we started over again after we got the final order of the ownership on July 2nd, 2024. So we got the final order for ownership July 2nd. We submitted a new permit for the roof on July 10. The violation were including the roof, the garden, the fence, and the property having cracks and needs to be painted. Everything has already been finished with the exception of the roof, because we were just waiting for the roof to be issued. The roof permit was issued recently last week, and we're looking forward to continue the roof, and that will be the final stage that we have to do for the clearing of the issues on the code violations.
Okay, to get it back to code, yeah.
Attached here, or like just to roughly give you an image, this is the statement of the current mortgage that we have on this property from the previous owner. There you have 3 pages of the exact same charges. The exact same charges monthly on the landscaping. Each month they're charging a minimum. The least month was $370, and the highest month was somewhere at $867 a month for the same work that the town of Lake Lock Shores is also making
So that
work
we
for.
thought, we don't know where that.
So we have to go in details, and we have to go down now to the city and ask them exactly what the dates were, the services. And then we have to provide that to the mortgage company and say, okay, these were the town, they did this kind of work, and you guys are double billing. So it's just gonna be another, we're not gonna ask any money from Joseph, from the CRA. We're not gonna ask for money. We're just asking for you guys to reduce it. I mean, and if you, not gonna be greedy, but we are definitely not looking forward to be wiped out. We're only be realistic. We're asking you guys to consider all the funds that has to be spent on the property, and at this time we haven't settled yet with the 17 pages mortgage that we have here, but we're still not we're not gonna hold the city on hold for that. We're going to move forward as we already have done. We've already done the work.
Yeah, the only thing missing now is to try to get that roof up in shape.
Correct. And the garbage out of the property, the old furniture and so on that was inside.
Which that has been done.
So you told me that part of the reason you weren't able to complete the process was because you were being held up from the previous owner litigation?
The property was owned in 1977 by a mom, and the mom, unfortunately, as age went by, since she owned it in 1977, that was the year I was born, by all the signs, she unfortunately, maybe in 2020 or 2021, she went to a living assistance facility, and therefore all the notices that were sent to put the property in shape and cut the grass and so on were basically returned because of the fact that nobody's there.
And she had no living caretaker. And then on top of that, you were getting double billed from the mortgage company as well. Services were being done, but you were getting double billed.
Which we don't know where
She
that.
pulled the reverse mortgage on it, and they have been billing every month that tremendous amount of money, plus interest on each service.
Do we have a number on?
Yes, it's in the memo. New business.
New business.
New business.
Yeah.
I know there's definitely costs where there's physically someone that has actually been to the property, cut the landscaping and trees, trim down. I'm sure that there's definitely costs, and we'll be totally, unjust if we don't compensate the city for such costs. But that's why we're asking for your consideration, possibly get it to actual the physical cost that the city has actually paid and outright.
Did you go before were you present at the code enforcement?
I think he did. He was here in 2022 when we originally got the first deed for the property.
So you were at one of them?
Yeah, we were trying to get it back up to shape at that point, but that was right before the daughter then started the investigation with the city, and then that took off from there and delayed it 2 years, an additional 2 years.
What was the fine, Joe, in July 2022? Do we have that number before the dispute with the mortgage and the daughter? What was the fine at that point?
I know it is,
I don't
I know
have,
it's $150 a day, I think, each violation.
Because
There's 5 violations total.
that would be helpful to understand what the fines were when you guys took the property over and then it kind of got paused, and then ideally the fines kept accumulating, which, if you would have lost the property, you wouldn't be standing here today. So just trying to get an understanding of what those fines were in 2022.
We were also, it was on the agenda. I can't remember if it was the last meeting or the one before that. And I know that you guys we're going to discuss it, but I don't have those numbers, unfortunately.
Okay.
It does, unless I'm incorrect reading this though, Vice Mayor Maples, it does look like most of these fines began in 2021 prior to that legal issue.
Right.
So they started in April 2021.
No, Feb 24, 21.
We have
I got
February.
I have February.
Yeah,
here.
February.
February 2021.
The day of
2021.
recording was April. That's it.
Yeah.
John, can I,
And the peeling paint is still running, it looks to be? The fine for peeling paint is still running?
It was never brought into compliance per these notes.
The property has been fully painted. All the cracks and the stucco has been repaired. It has been fully, the fence has been repaired. And landscaping is this year.
We're just waiting on the roof.
Yes.
Joe, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Mayor, can I?
Yes, please.
Thank you. John, you had a good question. The thing is, in a normal practice, when you turn over property, all those liens should be satisfied. So that didn't happen this time. And I don't know why, but in a normal process, you do a title search and you do a lien search, and you make sure those are done before you transfer property.
Folks like Legacy and occasionally me will buy them with the liens and then satisfy the liens after.
I just said normally. I just said normally.
One additional fact, which is true. What happened in this occasion was, at that time that we bought the property, there was already a foreclosure action happening on the property, and there was already a lawsuit that was already concluded, and there was already a judgment in place. So the judgment, part of the judgment was already the town of Lake Clark Shores. That was part of the judgment. So when whoever takes title after that judgment is kind of free and clear kind of the foreclosure action. But that didn't happen because of the litigation that took place.
Yeah. So this legacy group is an entity, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because it's not an individual.
No, it's not an individual. He is the trustee.
Well, that has a bearing on it, in my opinion. So I'm just trying to do some math here.
It's not really a business trust. It's more of a home family trust.
Well, it's not like an individual is buying the structure and looking to bring it in and live in it. I don't know that that's not your plan. I'm just saying from the point of view of what we've traditionally done in the past with the handling of these outstanding liens. Because I agree with Joe. Typically how it happens is they're all satisfied, then all the transactions take place. And when did we are the ones that had ABM start doing that, about 21, 22, right around there?
I don't know the date, but
I don't know the date either, but I do remember this.
Legacy trust is actually, it would be a homesteaded property as well. So it's not really a company. It's a homesteaded property is in the future.
But it's not homesteaded now.
No,
You're-
it's not possible. Once
You're-
it gets in shape,
Yeah.
it will be homesteaded and it will be livable.
it is customary in my business to buy something with liens on it, and then for me or Legacy to satisfy the liens.
But if it's not their residence, they're not homesteading it.
Oh, that is nothing, homesteading has nothing to do with it.
But
No.
that's what she just said.
It's not meant to
That's
be for
down the
business.
road. It's,
So Legacy Group Trust, you own other properties in Lake Clark Shores
no, I own a property in Lake Clark Shores, yes.
under
81.
your name?
Yes.
You're a resident? You're both residents?
residents.
Okay.
I
And-
own
and
a
it's-
property in my trust name.
It's not uncommon for individuals to own property in trust.
Of course.
My wife and I own our second home as a trust because it's a second marriage, and the trust was set up so that her family and my family would share equally if something happened to the two of us. But it's not a business, it's a personal.
It's your vacation home?
Yes.
right? Yes. I mean, this is down the street from them.
Yeah.
That's
it's a
becoming
different
more and more of a common practice. The uncommon practice, which does happen, is not to satisfy liens when you transfer ownership. But it does happen.
And this is why, right here where we're at right now, is why they don't do that.
Right, which is not a good practice.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that comment, I'm sorry.
I was saying more and more owners of property are putting it in a trust. It's just happening all over the country. So that's not uncommon. It's the transfer of ownership without satisfying all the liens. It's rare, but it does happen.
Well, to make, to really apply it to this property, as I mentioned, it had a foreclosed action on it already existing.
Right.
So at that time, when when he got the title, at that time, that conclusion, that judgment has already been entered. So that, from that point, it would have been a clear start point to the new owner to start over, just have to put the property in compliance, and then the prior funds has been already foreclosed on.
So what is your proposal for our consideration?
We're requesting that you would consider, having the new owner to pay for the actual physical cost, meaning that it would be, if you have sent the company over to the landscaping to cut the trees.
They've been doing it.
Yes, I know, and I also showed you the exact two set page
Yeah,
letter.
no, that's beside the point. That was deemed a nuisance property a long time ago. So and I see we have a couple code enforcement members here right now, so they'll remember that property as well. So.
But we acted on it. I gave you the time frame from the day that the title was cleared, which is July 2nd, July 10. We were already in for the permit for the roof, and the entire property have already been cleared from everything else. From the
we're just
painting and
looking for
stuff.
any help that you guys can give us.
I think Vice Mayor Maples makes a good point. I know I'm familiar with Legacy. You all are a big player in the home renovation business, and I admire your work for years. But you bought it with knowing that there was liens and issues attached. I buy houses with liens and issues attached, and then we go before the code enforcement board, and you try to get those reduced. So you have not appeared before the code enforcement board at this point?
We just got the title just a few weeks ago.
We just re-got the
They can't.
Okay.
It's a lien.
Well, I mean, you.
Prior to 2022,
right.
we had the title.
They can't.
The code enforcement board loses the authority to make a reduction in a lien once the lien is recorded.
Okay.
And then it becomes a financial issue with the town, and only the town council can make that decision.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think Vice Mayor Maples makes a good point. As to learning what the liens were, or the fines, if they had not been turned into liens at the time that they purchased it. I would have some empathy for them concerning the court case, because they didn't have ability to renovate at that point. But they did buy it with some liens that would need to be discussed.
Sure. And we're not asking for a free ride.
And I think the town manager makes a good point in his memo to us. It's atypical for any municipality to remove a lien until the work is completed. So I applaud that you've got the roofing permit very quickly. And I know you all work quickly, so I think it will, probably by next month, you might even have that roof finished.
It could have been done by now already.
Yes.
The guy is waiting just for a go. He just gave us the date today, so.
So I think that we should do a little more research as to what liens were on various dates, and giving them some leeway because you know, in the court case, they could not renovate a house that they didn't have clear ownership to. And then by the time they can come back to us again, they'll probably have the roof done, and we can discuss everything as a whole.
The roof was paid for. It was just waiting on the permit to be printed, and he has a start date of next week, I think. So it'll be done within a couple weeks.
Usually when I go to other code enforcement hearings, like when I work, when I've done that before, they usually bring the picture of the home, how it looks. And usually they take another picture of how it looks like maybe 48 hours prior to the hearing. So if there's any sort of improvements, it would be all like in seen to everyone the difference. That's all. So
What date again did you take ownership of the home?
The second time?
Or the first time?
July 2nd, 2024.
And the first time?
It was May 22nd, 2022. And the judgment for the final judgment for foreclosure was entered the exact same months that we had taken ownership.
And so you took ownership on May 22, and then when did the court case take place?
There was several cases. That the foreclosure case was already taking the time, it was happening at the same time. It was already concluded by July, I'm sorry,
Okay.
May 22nd, May 12, 2022. So it was like a month before this. It was 1 month before the judgment. The final judgment foreclosure was 30 days prior to the ownership, the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 days difference.
And unfortunately, with a lot of bank foreclosures or mortgage company foreclosures, the code enforcement liens are extinguished in the foreclosure because they're subordinate to the mortgage company.
That's right.
And the reason why we're in this hearing today is because the first judgment, we actually cured so that way the bank does not take ownership, and then we will continue having to proceed over, continue with improving the property and taking it over.
So what do you, I can't make any motions, so I'm looking at you for.
I mean, my perspective, if the town like physically went out on a couple of these different liens and actually remove the garbage and cut the grass, like there's actual labor involved in that. So obviously we can't do anything about reducing those.
Right.
But some of the other top three that, based on dates that you actually had ownership, to me, that feels like, hey, when we actually own the property, then we're responsible. We don't have any accurate numbers for that, but to me, then it's like, hey, I own this place. I know there's some liens that I'm going to have to address, but when I take ownership of it, I feel like then moving forward, I'm responsible for these things. So I would be open to figuring out what those would look like. As far as, I don't have a number, unfortunately, because I don't have the numbers from the dates that I've requested, but having a conversation about looking to maybe reduce those particular liens. So, and obviously there's a lot of us up here, so that's.
Dana, do you have any input on this? Or you were there at the time doing this? Were you still handling code enforcement then? I don't mean to put you on the spot. We're just trying to figure.
Yes.
Okay, so.
I was the original.
Okay. Well, I remember that. It was a loaded question. I'm sorry.
And Emily, if she, yeah.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Yeah,
I think you guys need a little more information
Yeah.
in regards to the case. Maybe not.
we've had a lot of issues. We've had stop work orders. I can't go in a lot of detail, but the state was involved in investigation because there was concerns.
With the previous owner?
No.
No? Okay.
So, I have to be careful because it could be litigation or something down the road, but we just did, we went by there and there were people doing work there.
I saw somebody
Have a
putting some
permit.
plants in the other day too.
So the criminal side, I can't get into.
That's okay. We're just looking for some guidance from the folks who do the code enforcement.
Yeah.
I think, again, we need, similar to the last situation, we need a presentation from the code officer.
He's right here. We did bring the code officer.
We need a whole history of.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
So for those of you who don't know, my name is Eric Richwagon. I'm the code enforcement officer for the town of Lake Clark Shores. I've been with the town since February, March of last year. This property has been under my scope because several residents have brought it to my attention. My most recent interactions with this was a few weeks ago. Neighbors across the street called in because there was a concern about large amounts of trash being put out. There was some clearing of the house being done. I put in a call to Waste Management just to make sure it was going to be picked up. One of the complainants was Jerry Sanchez, who is one of our code enforcement board members, who's here present today. He did a follow up with me on it. I explained to him that situation. Then a few days later, on a Saturday, this was of last month, I got a call from Sanchez saying, "Hey, it looks like there's a vehicle there. They're doing work." I did show up to the property. I do have photos that I could present to the board. There was a gentleman there inside the garage. He had various types of equipment set up. I did speak to the gentleman who allowed me onto the property. He stated that they were just repairing a small section of fence, which looks like that's what they were doing. However, I did contact the building department per my protocol, just in case there was any type of other work being done. The building inspector did go out, issued stop work orders on the property. I then called Mr. Sanchez back to let him know of the update. Mr. Sanchez then called me the next day to let me know that one of the stop work orders had been removed from the property. I contacted Manny, the building inspector again, who then reposted to the property. We found the same gentleman there. We did give not a warning, but gave a very stern conversation, understanding that from the building side, if those stop work orders are removed without permission, that it could be an issue. Since then, no further work was seen done.
Were those stop work orders because they were working without a permit?
No, so you had a talk on the phone. I don't know if
Yes.
you called that.
No, yeah, I remember speaking to you.
I called you personally and if you show your pictures, it started raining, hang on, started raining. He literally took the piece of fence, put it in the garage so he doesn't get wet, which is in his picture, and he was cutting a piece to fix the fence. That was the only work. And then once you talked to me, you said, okay, well, if that's all you guys are doing, you guys can continue the fence.
Yeah, for the fence part, because per the building inspector, there's two notices that were posted to the property. One was a stop work order, the other was an unsafe order. So the unsafe order that was issued by the building department states that no one can live inside the residence, and any work that's going to be done has to be permitted. But if you're simply going in and out of the house to remove furniture or simple items, that's fine. But
That's all they did, and then that's all they did was the fence repair. So we were not out of compliance.
Yeah.
And that's all the pictures. And he could show you the pictures that he took, and we have pictures of our own.
yeah, I've got photos that I printed off if any members of the council wants to see.
Can you put them up on the screen?
Or bring them up and we'll pass them
Yeah,
around.
I've got physical copies.
I mean, that's a more recent history. Do you have anything that kind of tells us a little more of the story here that's not like what happened a couple weeks ago, but more of like a history of this, right? Yeah. If not, that's okay. And did your guy, when he removed the stop orders?
I don't know that he removed anything. I don't know that he did or not. I mean, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I came to the city myself and I spoke to the clerk and I asked her why was the stop work order was issued, because there was nothing that was work related to a permit needed. And she said because there were work being done inside the property. I said there was no work being done. Can I see the photos that you had? Then she provided the photos for the garage being open and the fence. I said, well, this is clearly the fence being repaired. It's not, nothing that works as requires permit to be addressed. So that's why it was cleared.
And
And that's why we had continued working with the fence.
After also speaking to Sanchez and Eric, which we got to go ahead to continue with the fence repair, and we were allowed to go in and out to clear trash. So everything we did was by the books.
Yeah.
So is it for everybody up here, their consideration, they want more information or more time, or?
I think we
I'd
need
be
more
willing to
information.
Entertain a 10% discount.
I think we need more information.
I'm going back to like what John said.
Listen, I've been up here a long time. I know what goes on. We've given a lot of discounts just like this, and everybody moves along. There's people in this audience that had to pay close to $150,000 that they pay, just like you folks. We're trying to think of the overall picture. So just,
Part of the overall picture as well is the numbers.
I understand. That's
It's
why
the
I,
numbers.
that's what I just said, ma'am. Do they need more time to look at that? That's my suggestion. If I could make a motion, that would be the motion I would make, is you can have a 10% discount and that'd be okay, and we can live with that. There's a lot of work that goes into this. I'm feeling a vibe somewhere, somehow, that I just don't understand. So
We don't understand either sometimes. Sometimes
I understand,
we
it's nothing personal.
No, no,
There
no.
was an
we have-
investigation, I think he's trying to refer to, that there was an.
Now, it's not talking about that.
There's-
Listen, this is what happens in here. The code enforcement board does a lot of work. All these things come in here. The people want to throw themselves on the mercy of the council. The council feels bad because you are a resident. And I don't mean this in a personal way. I'm just trying to protect the entire town and everything within it, because this won't end just with you folks.
And we have a full respect to that. We do have.
So this is a precedence issue, actually, in my opinion.
And we appreciate that, neither are
Yes,
looking for a
so
free
it's-
ride. And we're
I'm not saying that.
I don't think 10%.
So then
also-
tell me, what do you think over 10%? What do you think?
I mean, I think I agree with since the whole investigation has started, I don't think that the investigation was on us. I think that that's fair. And for anything that you guys paid for the law and everything, we should own that. We own that. That was money that the town has paid, and that's fair.
And just so you know, the time frame that I would actually think that we should get down a quote is the 30 days that was between the day of the final judgment of the foreclosure action to the day we have actually taken the deed over. I think that's the.
Well, typically what they said is the compliance is done, and then that's when the violations end, once the compliance has been met. The compliance has not been met.
And that's the 30 days.
I-
That's the 30 days in the prior ownership.
I understand, but there's still not compliance on the property.
But that's because we haven't issued.
I understand.
Realistic work order, stop work order.
Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that true? Compliance is really what kind of clears that up? Or can it continue to accrue?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
They bought the house. They are saying what they're thinking is once they bought the house, everything should cease and desist. And then that's where they take it up from there.
No, that's not typical. Compliance is when it ceases.
Okay. So, and I understand your position. I just want everybody out here, and we have, like I said, there's code enforcement members, possibly a neighbor, somebody. So I'm not trying to punish anybody here. I'm just trying to think of the town and what the staff goes through, code enforcement officers go through, the police department goes through, and everything. So I can't make that motion, but I'm just throwing that out there. 10% equals about $20,145 off of what's existing.
To pay 20,400?
No. That's a reduction. That's your 10% reduction, which brings it to 181.65.
The total is $201,800.
From 201, take $20,000.
Take the $20,000, 145 off, and you come up with 181,655.
And my response to you is, we should be responsible, or the trust should be responsible from the 30 days. That should be the fine that we have. The fine should be running against us. We should be expecting to pay the fine for the 30 days, which was the day that the judgment was concluded, to the day that we took title, which is the 20 days. And the second time, when we had the final judgment, which is July 2nd, to the current fine, putting in consideration that the city had issued a stop work order that we do not feel it was just. It was totally unjust to have to post a stop work order on work that was being done that does not require a permit.
Who, the building officials are the ones who issue the stop work order?
Yeah, the
Yes.
building inspector goes out there and they deem, so this is standard protocol because in Lake Clark Shores, when I took over, it's very typical that I find, not everywhere, but most of the time I've seen that when there's evidence of work going on, usually there is. So it's just a protocol that I have with the building inspector that I have had them go out, they make the determination, they post a stop work order. And if it's found that there is no work going on, that's in violation, then the stop work order gets rescinded, which in this case it was because the roof permit that they ended up pulling and has now been issued, that was able to clear because the stop work order was removed. But there was more information and more context that the building inspector had to do. And then once they relayed that report to Melissa in the building department, she relayed the findings and facts to me.
What were the liens or the fines on it when you, on May 22 of 2022?
That was exactly numbers. I don't exactly remember, but I believe it is the fine for the total of the fees is $150 a day, correct?
No, they.
Today, as of today, it's 200.
Each day.
Oh, no,
It depends on
no,
which.
but when you
Yes.
bought it, you bought it with liens or fines that were running. How much were the fines on the date, on the date of May 22,
We don't have
2022?
that number.
We don't have the exact number, but we knew that it was an average of $150 a day, and we had it for 30 days.
Ma'am,
Average.
I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Hannah.
Hannah, obviously this council, we want to work with you guys and we're trying to be as fair as possible. But the reality of it is, in this business, you understand that you buy a property with liens, right? So you knew that there was liens on the property. So the 30-day deal kind of goes out of the window because you knew you were buying it with liens. But to be fair, once we have the numbers of the 2022 date when you first got it till now, like figuring out that 2-year window, figuring out that difference of that date, and maybe we can figure out something that makes some sense there. But the reality of it is we can't just say, all right, well, you got it 30 days and we can only look at those 30-day window. That I don't think that's fair to the town or to you guys, to be honest, because you live in this town, and the resources that is spent and different committees and all these different things to be able to accomplish that, Hannah. So I think personally, I would recommend us getting more information and coming back and having this conversation. That's the motion that I will put on the table because I feel like we don't have enough information to really hit the number on the head. Nobody's going to be happy when this is all said and done. I can assure you that, but we're going to get a little bit closer to the middle if we can possibly do that. Does that make sense?
I think that's fair.
That's what we're asking.
Yeah, that's all we're asking for.
So
that's a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for your
Thank
time,
you. I
guys.
really
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you, Hannah. Have a good night.
Okay, let's move on here.
Staff report.
All right, let's move to the status reports. Chief Adams, you're up. I know. Thank you for hanging in there tonight. You can stay in your seat tonight too. Pass her that microphone.
Hi, Tracy
Nice-
Adams, Palm
nice
Beach
to
County
see
Fire
you.
Rescue.
Thank you guys for coming.
Nice to see you too.
Yes, thank you.
You guys.
Thanks for coming, guys.
It was important for me to stay because this week is the anniversary of 9/11 on Wednesday. So I just wanted to invite everybody to, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue is hosting a 9/11 remembrance ceremony at Palm Beach State College at 6 o'clock at the Duncan Theater. So I wanted to make sure we extended that. I believe I did send the invitation also
We'll
to
forward.
Joe to be able to give it to you as well. We are going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary for Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. That'll be October 5th at between 10 and 1 o'clock at Palm Beach County Fire Rescue at 405 Pike Road. I'm sorry I won't be there because I will be at the Gator UCF game. My daughter just graduated from UF with her master's and I am a UF alum. Go Gators. And my youngest daughter goes to UCF, so that's a big game for us. So that's
Oh,
where
nice.
I will be. So, but it does look like a really fun celebration. So we ran 19 calls last month, 17 medical, 1 motor vehicle, 1 fire alarm, and I'm going to keep it short and to the point. That's it. Have a good evening.
Chief, I reported to you the last time that I was appointed onto the Regional Hazmat Council. Well, a new report has me appointed as the chair of the Regional Hazmat Committee. So
Wow.
I thought I'd share that with you.
Sorry.
They didn't know what they got themselves into yet.
Congrats and good luck.
It's been one meeting. We meet quarterly, so it's new on him. Chief Smith, you up front and center, sir.
My report's attached if you have any questions. One thing I wanted to mention, when we talked about the 4,400 gallon tank that was mentioned, that was bought with forfeiture money. It didn't cost us, the town, anything.
You're talking about the diesel or the gas?
I'm talking about the diesel.
Okay.
Portable, it's in that, and what the diesel is used for, it's not for police vehicles.
I know.
It's for construction, so
it's
we
emergency.
can use our front end loaders to clear the streets.
I understand
don't get
that.
our-
I was going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But if anybody has any questions, you've got my copy.
Did we have any questions for Chief Smith?
No, thank you for that,
No,
Chief,
no,
because
sir.
that was super helpful because I didn't know that. And I just kind of, I was like, oh,
That's why we got the diesel.
yeah, that makes sense.
And it
Thank
took, how long did it take us to even let them get a front loader or the backhoe, or we would rent
And
or
we bought
borrow?
the tank used for about a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost the town anything.
But it's foreclosure, it's forfeiture money.
I understand that.
But in the past, we had trouble getting diesel. We couldn't.
I know. Well, do you remember when we did all the legwork just to get the tank that's over by the PD? That took a while.
Yeah.
And it got nixed and then got reintroduced. That's a huge savings. I don't know if everybody understands that.
We say,
Within.
Appreciate it very
Not,
much.
not only that, but remember when the sisters all came through, we couldn't even get gas.
Yep.
Which was when we had to decide, okay, something's got to be done. We can't look like this and we can't function like this. We couldn't put gas into the police vehicles. You remember that, Chief?
I remember.
Yes. So, all right, no more questions for the chief? Everybody's blood pressure's up. We're talking money. Don't be coming in here trying to steal our money from us. Charlie, you're next, sir.
My report's included in your agenda packet. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for Charlie?
Thank you, Charlie.
No, thank you.
No questions. Okay, Mr. Lobello.
All right, our next meeting is 2 weeks, next Tuesday. It's the Tuesday, the 24th, regular 6:30. That's going to be our last budget hearing and our regular council meeting. And then the meeting after that is going back to the second meeting of the month, the second Tuesday, October 8th. We already talked about the senior club meeting next Wednesday. Thanks again for the Historical Society presenting a speaker for us. We call it land and lake cleanup. So please come out on the 21st in the morning. We go to our parks, we pick up debris in our lakes. It's a great event. It's good exercise. We give you gloves, we give you little grabbers. So come out, we got some coffee and donuts. Obviously, we have the Monster Mash on the 25th. Then the 29th, we have the decorating contest for Halloween homes. 2 announcements. Congratulations to the mayor and Councilmember Keaton on their recent appointment to the League of Cities. This is the State League of Cities, that they're going to be on the Legislative Committee. The mayor was appointed to the Utilities, Natural Resources, and Public Works Committee, and Commissioner Keaton was appointed to the Municipal Operations Committee. So congratulations.
We dragged you kicking and screaming, Bridget.
Yeah, you did.
We had 2 meetings on the bridge. We are required to have inspectors for the bridge. You cannot build a bridge in the state of Florida without inspectors. It's a law. Is
it multiple inspections?
It's continuous
Yeah,
inspections.
yeah.
And even with that,
We don't want to be a 6th Avenue bridge.
what happened to 6th Avenue? They had that and it still happens. And in Miami, they built a bridge when it was something like this. The mistakes still happen. So the state has required this. So it's nothing that we cannot get out of.
Not an option.
It's not an option. We're going out to bid currently on the building official and building inspection services. We'll have that for you next month. We thank you for your comments on appointing board members. We're looking at we haven't completed that process yet, but we're looking at those suggestions. We talked about the phone system, which we're going to save money on that. We talked about there's no lead pipes. We talked about the boat ramp. We talked about the lighting for community park. We didn't talk about this. We had a system called Code Red to alert people in an emergency. It only can be used for an emergency. We can actually piggyback with the county's contractor, and we can save $6,000 so we're doing that right now. We found a way to save more money. Now, last thing is what I want to talk about for a little bit, and you guys all know because I've called you all on this one. We continue to work with the special events. So we want to explain this to you, and then we have some points we want to make and get a consensus on, give us some direction. We think the 3 prior events that we have in town, which is the boat parade, the Halloween boat parade, and the golf cart parade, definitely add quality of life. They're well received. So we want to continue them. We've had meetings with the organizers of these, and we've said that, but they have some issues. They have some issues with getting insurance on the water. They have some other issues. So, but we want to continue to talk because what's the most important thing is paramount is public safety. We want to avoid accidents. And I think it's important to do that and work together and have those lines of communications open so we have the safest events in our town. So here's my 4 things. I want to read them all, and then you guys can discuss them or just give me consensus that you're good with them or not. We'd like to, as of this point, as we did with the art festival, go through the complete permit process with anybody in the future. So from now on, we go through the process. But the 3 prior events that I just mentioned, maybe we want to, working with Charlie, grandfather some of those provisions in because it might be difficult to get insurance. So we're still looking at that. We're working with the boat parade people right now to see if we can help them and assist them, but it might be expensive. And I think the lowest quote was around $3,000, while the art festival is $100, $200. So just give you some perspective. So there might be some provisions where we might have to waive, or we might suggest to waive. So I want to see if you're open to that. Third thing that we're going to ask for is the reimbursement of fees. We talked about that. Now that the art festival was approved, the police department, the maintenance department, and staff met, and we said we need $700 of reimbursable expenses. So instead of billing anybody this year, because it's so new, let's not bill anybody in 2024. Everybody's gratis. So next year we'll phase it in. So next year maybe we'll charge them 25% and then 50% the year after and 75% and 100%. So seeing if you like that. It's not about money for me. It's about having a safe event and not getting for anybody to get injured. And last thing is, working with these organized organizations, they want to have publicity. So yes, we'll do these things. We'll fill out the process. We'll do this, but we want us to promote those things, put them in a newsletter, put them on our social media accounts. We don't have a problem with that. It's very common. We're just as proud of them as everybody else. So we would obviously say they're not town events. They're provided by this organization or that organization, but come out to the boat parade and, it's a great event, but we would promote the art festival and all that. So those are the 4 things I think I need guidance on. And you guys can add anything if you'd like, but let's take them one by one. You okay with, maybe the first one is just from now on, they go through the process. So I will tell people if they want to have Oktoberfest in one of our lakes or one of our parks, they have to go through the process. I just need yes or no.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. Thank you. Number 2, do you have a problem with maybe grandfathering some provisions on the 3 events that have been going on for years and years?
I think that's critical that we do that. Those are part of the events that make Lake Clark Shores, Lake Clark Shores.
Yeah.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Stop me if we're in disagreement. How do you like not charging anybody for anything this year? And then that'll, our festival people will be happy with that. And then phasing it in for at some percentage, maybe 20, I'd like to go back with something, 25% every year after that.
I'm in agreement with that.
I think that's very generous.
Would that still be in, with the exception of the 3 grandfathered events?
No, we have to treat everybody fairly.
They'll be phased
So
in after this year.
They would, next year, they would pay 25%. We
Of the
can't treat the art festival people different than the boat parade people. Great.
Correct.
So what are we grandfathering them in? Is that
That they
just
don't
the
have to
insurance portion,
Insurance
or is that just a $100 application fee? Like, what are we grandfathering them in on?
I don't even know that yet. It's just grandfather.
Okay.
Let's continue to talk through the process of getting them as many provisions as we can with them, but we may grandfather some provisions.
They're
But-
trying to comply with some of it, and the things that they can't, we're willing to waive.
Yeah, right now it's the big one is the insurance for the
Yeah.
boat parade, as I mentioned.
But just know that you do not want to make it a town event
Oh.
if they don't have insurance,
Right.
because you do not want that liability.
Right.
Which we've never made it a town.
Yeah,
event
I don't
in
think
the
that's
past.
what we're,
That's
We
correct.
did have
we're asking to
support
do.
from the police department, but it has not been sponsored by, well, I understand. You already know my side of that story, so,
Mhm.
but I participate. I love it. I want to see it continue, but I understand the process. And I agree with you that that really muddies the water, so to speak, for us in the event.
No, we're not recommending taking over any of these events.
No.
So we want to work with the organizers and make them the safest possible. If it's insurance, I'll get with Charlie and say, what do you want us to do? And I'll get with the insurance company and do we want to make a donation towards that? Or there's many options that we can bring back to you.
I think what I understood
If
from
we
you.
donate, does that make it a town event?
I would say you want to stay as
I
far
would
away
stay
from
far
that as
away from that,
possible.
too.
So
I've seen cities do that. They donate to the event.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
but-
that's when
but-
they're
but again,
properly insured.
I don't have a suggestion yet. It's just, I want to talk to them and say, some things might be, you don't have to meet that provision because you've been doing it forever. So let's keep talking. It's better to talk and have a safer event
Absolutely.
than not talk and not know the plan, not know what to inspect, not know what resources we need. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think it's going to be critical that if we grandfather them in, which I'm all for, we need to know exactly what they're being grandfathered in, because the last thing we want to do is turn around like 2 years later and then slap them with, hey, now you got to get insurance. And they're like, well, I thought we were grandfathered in and we don't need that. So I think that's going to be,
No, I'm going to bring it back to you. I will,
okay.
I will
Okay.
bring it.
Well,
Oh,
part of the grandfathering is just so that they don't have to pay the 25% fee right now. The insurance is a whole nother issue you got to iron out. That's a whole nother ballgame.
and I might find cheap insurance.
Right.
Haven't exhausted my research yet.
Right. But that's kind of where you're thinking, right?
Don't know yet.
Well,
I got to talk to Charlie. I haven't talked
If
to
the
Charlie yet.
grandfathering is giving them a break on the police thing, that's part of it. They get to go in. The
Well-
insurance is a sticky wicket.
It is a sticky wicket, but you haven't had insurance forever.
Yeah.
We never got a certificate ever. So Charlie's going to get involved in that. I want to put him on the spot. I just,
Yeah,
I want to,
The less I say on the record, the better.
right. So I don't want to put
Yeah,
him on
so
the spot.
just sit back and nurse your,
Well-
get the nice pack.
We'll work together with Charlie, obviously. But right now we're just saying we may waive, let's keep talking. We may waive some provisions.
What
I
I
can
understood
live
from our
with that.
conversation about the social was that they wanted just some advertisement on the social media aspect, not that we're going to be a sponsor of it, that they just wanted us to put
Yeah.
some
Yeah, they never really asked for a sponsorship. They just want free advertising. Yes. And to be proud of the event. We are proud of the event. So let's not ignore it. Let's embrace it.
Charlie,
Okay, so
he's speaking without speaking.
we're gonna continue to work this. We've
Well-
got 3 months.
Well, you got 2 more votes. So you're okay with me saying we might be able to relax some of the provisions? We'll keep working with you. Let's keep talking. You okay with that one?
Absolutely.
Let's say that we'll take them under consideration.
Yeah.
Upon legal
I got to get it.
opinion.
I have to get them approved by you. So-
Yes.
So
That's better language.
do you like the reimbursement of 0 for 20 this year and then phasing it in 25% a year?
I can live with that.
So
How
can I.
about you all?
Yes, it's fine.
Can I see enough yeses?
Yeah, I think again, it's going to be critical that we really understand, specify what we're grandfathering them into, because we all want everyone's in complete agreement. I think we
Well,
want
that-
the event to
This is
continue.
separate.
Well,
But
that's the easiest one, because we're going to go through it every year and we might add and subtract some services,
This is for the
and they
fees
have
for
to
like
pay
police. and-
25% next year.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If they have to pay an officer for 4 hours, they got to pay.
All that last bullet point is saying that this year no one has to pay anything. Next year it starts
well,
to
I
get
know
phased
that,
in.
but I'm going back 2 bullet points to this grandfathering deal that we approved.
Yeah.
And hey, we're going to approve them on that. I just want to make sure, because those guys are calling me and like we're having conversations. I just want to make sure that when we say, hey, buddy, your grandfather in, relax a little bit. Let's go have a beer or something. I don't want the guys to get all excited 2 years later, like, John, you told me your grandfather in. What are we talking about here? I got to get insurance. I can't even find it.
Now you got real trouble.
No, I got real problems.
You can find it. It's expensive. But
Yeah.
It's
Well,
doable.
You know,
Insurance is
there are a number of
So do you know what
towns that
happens
have
when you
boat
do
parades.
the
How do they handle it?
coastal waterway boat parade?
yes.
You pay an entry fee, which covers the costs.
Mhm.
So if it's a matter of that, those are things I agree with you, Joe. We need to continue the dialogue.
Right.
We need to continue to talk. Nobody's trying to shut anything
And
down.
no one's trying to force
We
anything.
need to talk. We need to understand the game plan, where and what we want and need from a liability standpoint, and then we can all move forward.
And how to phase it in.
Was there a last bullet point that you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
The
sorry,
last one is, can I
Joe-
promote these
Joe, how do
events?
the other towns that have boat parades handle it?
They go right by the process that I gave you.
Yeah.
It's, I
Well,
stole that from every other city. Every
I
city
mentioned
gets
this
certificate
as
of
well
insurance.
to you, Joe, but can you explain, like other municipalities do have more of like a blanket policy too for, I know the boat thing is a tricky one on the water, but that is something that we could look into as well. Cause it keeps being brought up to me, like, why do we say yes to the barbecue? The barbecue is like this grandfathered in fabulous event
No,
that
the barbecue is the town's event.
right. But,
Right, that's the difference.
but they're
it's
questioning,
sponsored-
people
it's
are
sponsored by the
questioning
town.
why
Well,
that,
Well,
why we
they-
can't pay for the
they-
insurance,
they-
the
they know.
$3,000.
The Mike knows that.
And it's not
I
even him
understand.
specific. I would like to have that answer myself
Well,
because if
I can
you're,
answer it. It's,
That's
we can't
easy.
get insurance for another party. It's just as simple as that, right?
Correct.
but if
It's
we,
that simple. We can't get for ABC company, we can get insurance for us, but we can't get insurance for A, B, and C company that's putting on a boat parade. So
there
they
would
have-
be there is the possibility though of this being a town event and it coming under and us covering that in our insurance.
you guys make policy. If you guys want to make it a town event and it'll come
I know
under
you
our
don't want to
insurance.
plan another town.
That's,
And they want us.
remember,
they
I drive the
want us-
bus, you tell me where to go. So if you guys want me to do that,
I'm
we'll
just
do
saying
it.
there's another option or bullet point that didn't really.
Right.
come
I'd
up
rather
with.
not go that direction, to be honest with you. I'd rather them keep it. You know, we help with obviously the security,
Of course.
and it's their event. And they,
And right now they want to keep it there.
Absolutely.
That-
yeah, I haven't heard that option. I
They
heard
do. They just don't want to spend $5,000 to host it.
the group's
They don't
saying
have
that
the means to do that.
it's going in the right direction, but the insurance right now is the stumbling block of the cost of insurance. So we're still trying to do that. So the last one is, can I advertise for them if they are cooperating and talking with us? Can I advertise for those events?
Social media?
Social media? No, you don't like that?
I don't like that at all because now you're promoting
Yeah,
and now you are stepping into a liability.
When in my past life, you know, when you have events in that city, you would say this event's going on.
Yes,
Okay,
but they would have a permit from the city and they'd be fully insured.
right.
In this case, they'll have a permit, but they're not fully insured. And if you're promoting it,
So
you're opening yourself up to liability.
So-
The boat parade participants can just put signs out like they have in the past.
That's why the town has always treated it the way they did in the past.
So he's saying that we might not be able to waive some of the most important provisions. Maybe we can waive the actual permit process. They don't have to go through this approval in front of the town, but they need to get insurance for us to promote it. That's what you're saying.
Mhm.
I think it's probably more important for them to skip the insurance and skip the promotion.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if it means sacrificing the event that they've done for 30 years, it probably makes more sense to skip the insurance and skip the town and just keep doing what they've done for 30 years, in my opinion.
That's what I proposed.
I mean, at 96.
Well, I don't want to say I proposed that. Let me rephrase that. But I kind of, to the town manager, suggested, is there another avenue without?
That's why we're discussing it. We don't
So
have.
if you had 10 guys, the Lake Clark Shores Yacht Club, call each other on the telephone. Hey, Saturday night on the 21st at 7 o'clock, let's all meet down by the South Bridge, get in a line and drive our boats. That's done deal.
Yeah. But I think you need 75 people for this to even be an issue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
75.
Yeah.
It's
But most of them have more than 75.
It's got to have an impact to your town.
So-
And these events we're talking about, maybe not the Halloween boat parade, because I'm not sure how that one runs, but the golf cart parade, a golf cart event and the boat parade definitely have an impact in our town. There's no question.
Yeah.
So those are special events.
Just the people having their Christmas parties
Right.
around
But
it.
if you want to ignore them, that's up to you all.
Yeah. Well, you and I need to have some additional discussion.
We
But,
can.
The concern is that it not be a town event
Yes.
and not be an event that's promoted by the town. The town can still have the event, or the individuals can have the event. But the minute you step into promoting the event for them, you open the
Yes.
doors to issues.
Yes.
So what's the option? The option.
You
is-
don't promote the event.
Or, so we don't do anything with the event? We don't put resources?
You could still permit it
Okay.
as you permit any other event.
So if they don't get the insurance, we can't advertise it.
That would be my recommendation.
I think that's very sound.
I'm fine with that. So that's my last one. Obviously, the art festival, they're going to get a certificate of insurance to us, so we can promote it. So the others, we will tell them if they don't give us a certificate, we can't promote it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that give,
And obviously explain why, that it's a liability issue.
I was still
think they're
keeping
gonna
the lines of
understand.
communication open into that regard
No,
to say.
I definitely want to keep the lines.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this, is to
But that's
avoid.
why this gentleman sits right where he sits, to protect everything from that. You understand?
And the
And I know
manager is absolutely correct. We cannot buy the insurance. In fact, there are court cases and attorney general opinions where we can't even in a contract provide insurance for the contractor
Right.
or the individual we're contracting with. And that all ties into our sovereign immunity, because the minute we're buying insurance, then we're waiving sovereign immunity beyond what the statute allows us to
And
waive.
you're attached.
Yes.
So I know this is a different situation. I'm just thinking about all possibilities. I know everyone's really tired too, so I'm sorry. So the city of West Palm Beach, when you apply for an event permit, you put together a proposal for support from them, and they can donate to you and your event. They don't say that they're giving you $3,000 for insurance. They're giving you like a contribution to your event. And then a lot of times it comes with stipulations like they want X amount of tickets to come to the event, or it's like a sponsorship through the city. So can we explore if that's a possibility for the town of Lake Clark Shores as well?
You can, yes.
Okay, I'd like to add that as a bullet point.
Okay.
Good point.
We will explore that. And I am familiar with that too. Thanks. Got any ideas? Let me know. But we will continue to try to work with those three organizations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. We will move on to council comments. Christie, you still with us?
Still here. I was on a job site all day today in about
It's hot out there too,
100 degree heat all day.
Yeah.
I just want to repeat my thanks to Officer Manick, because he wasn't in the room when I thanked him earlier for his kindness and gentleness with my daughter. You didn't handcuff her or anything.
Her daughter.
It was,
He's messing with you.
it was The neighbor's dog got a little randy. The neighbor's dog bit our dog, and Officer Manick was, I was in Europe, and he helped my daughter stay calm through the process.
Great. Thank you. You're good?
I'm good.
Taylor?
I always want to thank our staff and our law enforcement. And I know it's Eric, right, who left. I feel like he ends up getting beat up on, but I'm so grateful
Got a
to
tough job,
him.
doesn't he?
Yes, and we're always questioning everything he does, but it's great when he's able to be here as well. And I just feel very excited about a lot of the things that the town is being presented with. And I think this is a really big moment for all of us. So, lots of positive things coming out of these tough meetings.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you follow that? Ditto to the staff. Without the staff, we wouldn't be here. And yes, you guys sometimes take a lot of heat that we don't always see. So thank you.
You're up.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. To the fateful three left in the room.
Well, that's Eduardo.
Eduardo has to be here.
Oh, that's our staff guy?
He's your finance director. Come on.
To the
John.
faithful
You
two
guys get
that are
extra
left
credit
in the
for
room.
everything. Absolutely.
And everyone online, thank you for hanging in there with us. It's been a journey tonight through 3 different books. But I also just wanted to add, if we could just next time we get together, make sure we have the date so we can nail down that for Heather and that whole property issue thing. I'd like to get that off the plate. And so if we can have a little more information on that January 22, what that fine was at that point.
Yes.
That would be super helpful. So we can really make a decision on that. Man, super excited about the vision that they have for the town. I mean, how cool that's going to be on Forest Hill when you come into Lake Clark Shores and you see all this stuff. We might not be a quiet gym anymore. More people are going to find out who we are and they're going to want to live here. So it's going to be a great place, but
It's not a bad thing, is it?
not a bad thing. It's going to be really nice. Staff, thank you. Chief, your team, thank you. As always, it's an honor to serve with you great folks. So I appreciate you guys and your time. Thank you.
Okay, I've got about an hour I need here. Took a lot of notes today. But I'm going to address audience comments, which normally this is how we do this. It's not a debate when they come up, but I just wanted to, the diesel you already covered. That's a utilities thing. That's,
But I
and
paid for it.
I understand that.
Town anything.
I understand.
No
So that's just water under the bridge. The septic to sewer, I know, is very contentious. The town cannot afford to get caught behind that. We need, in order to get federal money, be shovel ready, or else they pass you right by if you are not shovel ready, which means permitted, planned, the whole 9 yards. So what was that word there? I'm having a senior moment here. The fund,
Enterprise fund?
the enterprise fund is picking up a lot of that slack. So we're staying in front of that. That's part of what my committee does that I'm on in the League of Cities, is stay in front of that. That's not just Palm Beach County, Broward, that's statewide. That's going on. You guys were there listening to the keynote speaker. What do you want? You want to let it go down the drain, or do you want to do something to fix it? That was a state senator talking to us. And that's basically our options at the end of the day. The place isn't going to slow down. The people are just going to continue to come. So we, as a town, talking about fiduciary responsibility, need to stay in front of that. And Joe knows that we're looking for as much free money to reduce costs as you possibly can. I'm going to look more into that. I just don't know, Charlie, you would know better than me, because if you spend 10 grand, your property goes up 10 grand. It's kind of like that with the sewers, from what I'm gathering. So it's happening in the north, it's happening in the west, it's happening in the east and the south. It's happening. We need to stay in front of it. The bridge inspection's mandatory. I don't know what to say about that. It's got to be done. It's the cost of doing business. 7404, is that the property that I called you about with the pothole in the road that's getting bigger and bigger? Well, I'm pretty sure that that's the only one I've seen on Pine Tree, because Joe and I have been driving these streets when we go to our meetings. We make it a point to go around and address some of this stuff. They did a beautiful job there. And somebody called me, and it wasn't Mr. Daughtry, it was somebody else. And they also called me back to say thank you for what? How fast you got that handled.
It's incredible, the staff, how committed they are.
That was handled in a couple of days. You go to, I listened to this report the other day. You can listen to this governmental stuff. In Louisiana, it can take up to a year to get a pothole filled by local municipalities and things like that in different locations. This was done in 2 days. Thank you very much. It's done, it's complete, and it looks great. You did make a list and you presented it of what our capital things are.
It's a capital improvement list.
This is a small town that does a lot with a little. You guys can all see the budget. You see the bottom number. We look pretty good. So I'm going to leave you with this one. Now, I don't know how we handle this, but we, Joe and I, and we may have had these conversations, we need to find a tagline for the town of Lake Clark Shores. We're one of the few that doesn't have it. And I heard like 3 of them come out tonight. So my proposal is that, and I can't make this motion, but I would like public input, something where we open up to where they can submit, just like we did with anything. Submit your idea. I would say keep it 3 words, maybe 4, to find a good tagline that we can put onto Lake Clark Shores. Now, Lake Clark Shores has come a long way in the past 20 years. We've come a long way. We really have in how we are perceived out in the other municipalities. It was a complete different perception back in 2004, 2003. Goes back to the gas when we need gas. What are you talking about, Chief? Your people won't even let you buy gas or can't get gas. That's what we were dealing with. So what do y'all think about that? Opening it up, finding the tagline, let's commit to it and put it out for public, and let's, find a deadline that we can come up with it. And then we can take in and kind of do a process of elimination. And then this council will get to pick, what we want for a tagline.
No, I think we informally had said something when we were at the convention that we have a motto for the fire department. We have a motto for the union. So I 100% agree. And maybe you should do some kind of incentive, like a gift card or something for the top winner or top 3 or whatever. I don't know.
Can you come up with a $10 gift card?
So 3 to 5, I would say 3 to 5.
He's getting beaten up on the budget. I mean, $10, come on. I'll pay for that.
I will too.
Oh, we'll get Sushi Joe to donate.
I did that, just so you know, I did that one time for the winners of the lake cleanup. There were 3 children and it was 1 gift card. And I'm like, oh, we can't do this. So I went out and got the same amount. And I actually donated the Publix gift card and I got them something to like Target or something like that. Good kids.
Yeah.
Keep the kids
I'd
involved.
say 3 to 5
It's a beautiful thing.
I've worked on.
So do we need to do a motion on that or can we just implement that? That's not a motion thing, is it, Charlie? We could just put that out there that we're looking for a tagline and invite everybody and then let's set a deadline and.
Correct. You do not need a motion to do that.
I was
What do you
just-
think?
Perfect.
I think
had
that's a
just
fabulous
waited to bring
idea.
up the idea.
I love the idea of going to the
budget.
community.
I was waiting until after all the budget stuff.
Okay, so
That's fine.
what would you guys say a good deadline is for accepting or getting it out there? First of the year? That's 3 months.
Maybe we
October,
could
November, December, 3 months?
announce it at one of our events in spring.
And guys, tagline is like,
The South Florida
it's
Jewel.
like Nike, just do it.
Yeah.
It's like, when you think of Nike, they say, just do it. And that's like their tagline, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's like a marketing thing.
Tagline.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I noticed, I moved here, John knows me, a couple of years ago, I grew up in Miami.
I understand.
I moved to Delray, moved to Manalapan, so I've seen how these towns work. I'm in commercial real estate. I do my business in Palm Beach. Then I was Hyperlexo Island. I saw how when they did the gas line, how it went from 600,000 to $2 million. And this town is really, one thing is in Lake Clark Shores, when my girlfriend passed a couple of years ago, but we used to drive in and we're looking, there's nothing available. I still didn't have my other house sold. I wasn't sure what I was doing. And she said to me one day, she goes, Robert, she's from Ecuador. She goes, in Lake Clark Shores, everybody waves at you. And I
One of my
never
favorite
seen that
things.
any place in my travels. I'm 70 years old. Everybody here waves. I mean, it's the most amazing. I don't even see it in Palm Beach and I'm there all the time.
Come up with a tagline for that. Submit it.
Cheers.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to do that. Thanks for coming to Lake Clark Shores. We love this place, right, Claudine? Who doesn't? Of course, I agree. Okay, it's 8:45. It's halftime in the Jets game. I just got an
Quarter to
update.
10.
I'm not going to say anything. It was 8:45. Lord have mercy.
That was way off.
I'm tired too, ladies. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Okay. Let it be written, let it be done.